live. We're on.
All right. Good evening, one and all. Welcome to today's episode of DCL PrimeTime. What a weekend it's been. The playoffs have gotten kicked off, and some of the front runners have been kicked out. So it was a weekend of exciting happenings, dare I say, on and off the field, but some very close games and some completely unexpected results. And to bring them all to you, I have a feeling this show is going to break all viewing records that we've had thus far. And to welcome all of you joining me today are, as always, Satya, Viju, and Parthiv. So, first up, a recap of the previous week's games. And boy, this was some ride last weekend, wasn't it, Parthiv?
Absolutely. I think a lot of the top seeds toppled, a lot of the unexpected results, as you mentioned. And I feel just like every other DCL playoffs, there's always that unpredictability. And, it's basically who comes prepared and who holds their nerves. All of the games happening at Novi Power Park were close. One team prevailed over the other, but if you look at the nature of the wins, it was pretty damn close. So it was tense. It was pretty. It was nerve wracking, to be honest. To be on the side either the losing or the winning team. People must have bitten their nails so hard, they must have chewed their fingers. But it was great to see an audience, which is great for DCL. A lot of people came to view the games. A lot of people had really good fun, a lot of support, a lot of noise. So it was great to see that atmosphere.
Now, that really is the USP of our league here, isn't it? Where as you get into the playoffs, there's even league games where you often have a sizable contingent watching, but when it comes to the playoffs, it's just absolutely amazing. And I think this weekend provided a lot of entertainment to those that were privileged enough to be at Novi Power Park.
Absolutely. So I think let's get on to the first game. Satya, if you want to share your.
On.
Yeah, the first game we're going to talk about is the GLCC Blasters game, and I think this game lived up to its expectation. They both great teams, both teams which had really highly ranked, highly talked about players. One which was newly formed with a merger from different teams, had a number of individual stars, and then you had GLCC, which has time and time again have proved their value. They are a complete team. They have acquired, they have new talent, but the core of the team remains there for years and years to come. And they really showed what experience means in this tight game. Chasing a target of 112, when generally, if you look at the scores in and around Novi Power Park that day, were around the 80s and 90s. I think barring Raptors and this game, everything was under the 100 score line. Blasters batted first, and it was a single performance, only one performance, which basically led them to the score, which was Ravi Teja. He single-handedly took that score. 60 of the 112. You can see, half the runs were scored by him. Everybody else is in single digits. And that's where I think the Blasters batting, we've always talked about it. They have a great bowling attack, but their batting lacks. It was only due to this effort of Ravi Teja that they were able to score these many runs. But I truly believe once they had those runs, I believe that GLCC is going to have a very tough task to kind of get across it. And like I said, I think last time we talked about, we would dwelled upon, what's wrong with GLCC and, what's going on and what's the experimentation. I think this in this game, you could see things have come back. Things have the order is restored. You see the known players, the known game changers back in the team. Akash, who I had mentioned, he hasn't been playing. And first question I asked him when I saw him at the dugout is, "Why aren't you playing?" And he said he's traveling. He's had a baby. So there's a lot of personal things which are going on. And he comes back into the GLCC squad, and straight away he makes the impact. 4 wickets with the ball, and I think he scored around 16 to 18 with the bat as well, which I feel is the game changer. Even though I think Navpreet took the game away with his quick 20 runs at the end, which kind of tilted the balance completely in GLCC's favor. I think that the knock of Akash, I mean, his contribution, I would judge Akash as the man of the match, even though I think Navpreet was judged as the man of the match because of the impact he had. I do feel Akash's contribution was just outstanding. On the bowling side, I think Blasters, probably rely too much on Deepak to get them those early wickets. And when that didn't happen, I think it was left to Ravi and Anvesh and Naresh. I think they were able to get them close, but it wasn't able to kind of get those quick wickets, which would and the GLCC bats deep. If you look at the batting lineup, Vaibhav Khanna comes at 8, which is you can just imagine like the depth of batting which GLCC has, with Samish not even batting yet. So they bat long, and I think most of the top teams do that. You just have player after player who you think, wow, he's at 7. You can just imagine the depth and the quality of the batting. So GLCC, I think, have got things now in order. I still feel like the Manpreet Singh question, his inclusion, is still questionable, and that's something which we'll probably ask Samish when he comes here, is to what's the rationale behind it. But I think all in all, I was expecting GLCC to show up in style, and they did. And now I think they definitely are one of the favorites to go all the way.
Yeah, Parthiv, I think once again, throughout the season, we have mentioned it time after time that the Blaster batting is very suspect. And this game exposed that a myth that the Blaster batting had anything substantial in their wings. With the exception, as you rightly said, of Ravi Teja, everybody else had a forgettable game. And really, this was a top-notch unit. So I think there is much to think as to what went wrong. But clearly that batting never had performed throughout the season in critical games. Every now and then there were 1 or 2 people bailing them out, but this game in a playoff game, only Teja showed up. Everybody else was a disaster. But 111 is defendable. After all, when we talk Blasters, we talk bowling. We are not necessarily talking batting. So when you have your top bowlers, and your top bowlers is considered to be Deepak and Ravi Teja, and they go at 5 runs and over, game is over right there. So everybody else is not going to be able to defend it. And clearly GLCC took it to Deepak and to Ravi Teja. So all the grand figures they had throughout the season, when you run into a good batting unit, they can take out the pace which you have. And both Teja and Deepak went for runs. And I think that's where the failure is. When they go back and look at this game, it is on the bowling end that they really failed, because 111 was more than enough in a playoff game to defend. If you look at some of the other games, you see that even 60-run games were very, very tight. You see that Legends made it very difficult for Kings 11 to win that game, and Glads made it very difficult for Strikers. It went into the 25th over, even though the score was only 60. So 111 should have been defendable. So if anything, I think the failure is on the bowling end. So, but congrats to GLCC. We knew that, remember last week I did say that Blasters had the toughest road to the finals to win the cup. And there were a few of us who did think that probably GLCC would win this game, and come playoff, that's exactly what happened. So congrats to GLCC. Hard luck to Hari and Blasters. I know Hari would be pretty disappointed, and that is always a sad thing, that somebody has to win and somebody has to lose. And I know Hari put in a lot of work, but I think I'm not sure what more he could have done from his perspective. He brought in all the players. They're all good players, but still the bowling is what let them down. So hopefully they'll come back strong next season.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned about Deepak and others going at 5 and over, but Deepak actually was that one bad over I was there since I was there. I know that one bad over with Napreet took him for 2 sixes in that one over. That expensive over. If you cut that over, he was still economical, and the way he normally does it. But that one over changed the whole equation and dynamics of the game. So just the day, and Napreet was on song on that day. So. Okay, the next game, which I'm very very excited to talk about, as you would expect, is the Gladiators and the Strikers game. This was again.
Yeah, why wouldn't you be?
The reason I'm excited about is not because we won, but I think it's more about the execution and the planning and the strategy which we worked and we talked about coming into fruition. I've been very critical about my bowling, about our bowling attack coming into the playoffs. We haven't been able to defend. We have leaked extras. We've lost games which we should have easily defended against weak teams like Brownstown. After scoring 94, we couldn't defend that. But on this day, it was a different dynamics. Everyone probably woke up on the right side of the bed. Came into the ground. Everybody was pumped up. Everybody was, had that rigor, that vigor in just the way they walked into the field. And the bowling, I mean, my talisman, Binod, he just basically broke the backbone with those two big wickets at the top, both Shanwaz and Ronak. Those two key wickets were, just the start which we were looking for. And basically, Vinod delivered. Every time I've thrown in the ball, he's always got me those big wickets. And then it was, Vivek and Kapil, just excellent bowling. We basically had a strategy and we executed to have the batsmen always kind of never get settled. We basically rotated bowlers really in the middle, so that to make sure we basically use and never have like one pace or one order where people get settled. And I think, to be honest, I think I was a bit surprised with how Glad's kind of approached their batting. I think there was too many big shots attempted, and a lot of shots attempted, especially when wickets were going down, and that basically helped us. I mean, we just kept picking wickets, and that added pressure, and at no point of time there was any effort essentially to kind of take a step back and try to kind of build a partnership to resurrect the score. But albeit we were happy with the 60 score, and we knew at no point of time I was going to ever thought that this is going to be easy even after defending 60. I think our batting was under severe pressure. We did break down the top order completely, fell down. We were, I think, 22 for 6, with pretty much all our experienced batsmen in the dugout. But it was one man who basically stood up, and I think Vinayak, I mean, just unbelievable nerves. Ice cool, him and Kapil, both of them. Kapil using his experience, and he's my go-to man when crisis comes. Whenever I have this collapse happening, it's either him or it's either him or either me who go in and try to stop the bleeding. But he this season he's not only just done that, but he's able to score runs and able to kind of make sure that there is no further damage done. In this case,
it's almost
also
like it's almost like an old school DCL chase, isn't it? The 33 of 71
very
there
much
acting as the fulcrum.
Yeah,
I believe the nature of the target contributed to it, and that point that you made about the Glads just coming and swinging hell for leather, every batsman doing that. I wonder. Of course, there's Satya and Glad and Viju there to take this up later on, probably. But I almost wonder if that previous loss kind of played on their minds, and they were out to make a statement, and maybe try and absolutely dominate, no matter what the circumstance. And I don't know if that contributed to such an approach, but
yeah. But for me, I think it was more around, as I said, we basically had a plan. We basically wanted to go with no pace, essentially. So if you look at our bowling attack, it was a very purposeful way of how we distributed our bowlers and who bowled. So we had in our reserves 2 or 3 fast bowlers. Still, who did we did not use? Rahul Pawar, he generally bowls. He's quick. We have Rahul Nikam, who also bowls, and then we also have Rohit, who also bowls. So all of them were medium pacers. But in this case, we went for people who knew how to control their pace in and around outside off stump, and that ring of fielders which we had on the offside, near the fence, we got 4 wickets just there. Kept bowling, peppering outside the off stump, and they kept hitting it up airborne into the hands of the fielders. And we gave a couple of 2 or 3 twos and threes, twos outside the fence, but we knew always that it's always better than giving the boundaries on the leg side. So that plan, that execution was, I mean, as we all know, we go with a plan, but you need to execute. And I think that's what we did so beautifully. And coming back to the batting, I think, the scorecard would have looked so much better if it was 65 for 6. Those crazy 2 runouts at the end were just unbelievable. I think it was just the panic of the situation, and it brought the game to a point where it was like, I think, 3 balls 2 runs, and then similar to Dhoni, just he went for the all Hail Mary, and it went across the boundary for a huge 6, and dramatic finish essentially for us. And to be honest, I'm very proud of the team, and now I definitely feel with the team we have, and the 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 force now behind us, with these people who are hungry now. I think it's going to be really going to be interesting this weekend.
So that's a public declaration of intent from a skipper, if I've ever heard one.
Absolutely.
Declaring to the world that you're hungry and out for the hunt. I guess your strategy started off from the time you bet against your own team on last week's episode, didn't you? So that was nicely
Yes,
done.
yes, I always, basically, I like the underdog tag. So there's no shame in that. And to be honest, on paper, obviously, Glass had the team which, on paper, even 1-to-1 comparison, there was never really doubt that they outscored us. But I've always said, in cricket, anything can happen, and the team that executes well on that day essentially is the winner. So no matter how big you are or how small, how badly you perform, come playoffs, it's a different ball game.
Absolutely. No, I think you guys had a test of fire and you passed it with flying colors. Well, I guess it's time to bring on Viju, the Glad's patriarch, as I call him. I know this must have been a crushing blow for you. I'll admit, I had you guys favorites to win the title, so I was quite aghast when I saw what was happening. But I guess I'll let you detox, if you will.
There've been few days, so I think sinking in a
Yeah,
little bit.
man. Yeah, Avi, I think this was a crushing loss for us. I think stating anything other than that would not be true. I think when you go in as the number one team, and actually there were 2 teams tied with 46 points, both Legends and Glads, both had 46 points. And only when you're in that shoes, you'll realize how tough that is to digest, because you go in with 46 points, you've worked so hard during the season, you've dominated throughout the season. You have, a special innings from Rahul Chinna took away that game. But I could digest that loss, because in the sense that it was a really special innings. And of course, we also knew that we didn't have quite the bowling which we had today, or this game. This game, we had definitely much better bowling. Also, we didn't have shortage of players like in the previous game, where we are just getting 2 people whom we have never seen before. But this game, there's no excuses. I mean, I think strikers came with a plan, and as Parthiv said, I sent to my team the same thing. Whatever Parthiv said, I can show it to you in text, because I could see what was happening right then and there. Is there anything the Glad skipper could have done other than talk to his players? I don't think there was anything, at least on the bowling end. I think the Glads did everything which they could to make this 60 runs as difficult as possible. but we are not a bowling team. I've never claimed that we are a bowling team. So defending 60 is difficult for us, especially with this ball. And but we made a meat out of it. But I think you have to give credit to the opposition. They came in really pumped up. They came in hungry, and we too went in hungry. But I think it is the execution where we failed. I have no idea. As Parthu said, I counted at least 5 or 6 catches, high catches. This made no sense at all to me. So if there was anything which anybody should have done, I guess if you ask me, what would you have done differently? It would be that I would have talked to my players. I never asked Satya whether he talked to his players not to go for the big shots, but I'm not sure if he even instructed them to play according to the circumstances. But if you look at it, 6 high catches really means, and you're giving catching practice there, So
right.
We just on the batting end we collapsed. Okay, and all of them are just high catches where people just had to stand there and just catch the ball. So that really killed us. Only Anup and Shan and who's that? I think one other person was bowled and LBW, but most of the catches were high catches, and this didn't make any sense. And so that's where I think we lost the plot. I think the Glad's bowlers did great. But again, I think credit the strikers. Their bowling also did great. I mean, this is a team which was consistently giving 20 wides a game. In this game, I think they gave maybe 4 wides, I think. I'm not sure, but I think 4 wides. So, So in other words, they outperformed us because we, I think, gave 6 wides. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but I remember counting the wides while that was going. But, we gave 6 wides and 1 no ball. So even then, I think the game was broken open by that no ball, because that no ball gave a free hit. And that free hit, again, this is another place where maybe we should have been talking to Jawad a little more that, hey, whatever you do, don't bowl a middle and leg line. And well, not only did he bowl a middle and leg line, but he also gave it a full toss. And any good batsman will punish that ball. And that ball got punished for 6. So that let out the entire air out of the building, you see. So you're done so much hard work making this 22 for 6 and then there was one easy run out, which was Vinayak Kamble's run out. And there was, under no circumstances could you miss that run out. You make that run out too, I think this game might be a different game. But for whatever reason, we took off the glove, the keeper took off the glove and he did not collect this thing, and that run out was missed. And when it is a very good batsman like Vinayak Kamble, you pay the price. I remember as soon as I can even show you the text, as soon as that run out was missed, just remember that Steve Waugh said you dropped the World Cup when his catch was dropped. I felt the same thing. I said, okay, I remember texting. I think we just ran ourselves out of the playoffs, because that was a critical run out which we could not afford to lose. And if we get him there, that's probably somewhere around 30 or mid 30s, still a long way to go. And you're now looking at the tail, and that really hurt us. So I think a few things did not go right, but that's what you play the game for.
Right.
Is it crushing? Absolutely, it is crushing. Did I sleep well? No, I did not. I felt for my friend Satish Belamakonda, because I know exactly what he was going through. And I just felt that, these two teams had worked very hard. But you know what? You play a game and you are going to win some games and you're going to lose some games. And if we are not prepared to lose games, then we should stop playing. It's as simple as that. So as tough as this loss is, you have to digest it and you have to accept it and say that, this is what happened. And hopefully we can become better for it and learn and make a few adjustments. But though, I think the adjustments is all mental. It's not your abilities as such, because all of these guys have exceptional abilities. It's how you attack and play according to the circumstances.
So
we batted only a few number of overs. We didn't even bat 25 overs. So those are absolute musts. You can't just bat 19 overs and think that you're going to win a game in the playoffs. You have to at some point you have to grind it out and say that, what, let's get to 100 somehow or the other, or get to 80 or something like that. You look at KRCC, they just grinded it out and took themselves up to 75, and that was enough for them to defend. But when you score such a small target and you don't have necessarily the kind of bowling which many other people have, like maybe a Blasters has or something like that, then it becomes difficult. So, yeah, I think playoffs is a different ball game. I think you need to understand that too, that during the regular season, you don't have the pressure. You can go for the shots. All the shots seem to go out of the fence. But in playoffs, the pressure is different. Everything is different. So as much as difficult as this loss is, I think we were outplayed. At least, I think in terms of strategy, I think strikers had a very good strategy and they executed the strategy. You can have a strategy, but executing the strategy is the number one key aspect to anything. You can have the greatest plans in the world, but if you can't execute the plan, what use is the plan? So I think you have to give credit to Parthiv that he was able to motivate his players and come and really give it their all. And I think you have to be gracious in defeat. I think that's being a good sport, and I wish strikers all the best. And I said this before the season: if we can't win, one of the guys I would like to see is Parthiv's name on the cup, or I would like to see Ravi Narala's name on the cup. So I wish all these teams the very best. I hope that the best team wins. But I think it's going to be a tough ask because you still have GLCC out there who played very good cricket last game to win this thing, and KRCC is there. They seem to have figured it out, wherein they have to wait and play the waiting game and just score enough runs. They have the necessary bowling to get things done. So, but yeah, a good game from strikers on multiple counts.
That's very, very well put, Viju. I truly appreciate how graciously you've handled what is obviously a very difficult situation. I think a lot of the audience that has seen you at your boisterous best would have thought that you wouldn't take it well, but those who've known you for a while can tell that you are somebody who can take a defeat as well as you can take a victory. So, and I think while a lot of the focus tends to be, okay, where did things go wrong for the Glads? Like you mentioned, we have to give credit to Parthiv and the strikers. They did some things right as well, right? There is a team that did a lot of things right there, which is why they ended up winning that game. Because if you see, this Glad's outfit was by no means a depleted one. It was pretty star-packed. Yes, Arjun Ajmani was missing. He was off playing the minor league. But otherwise, you pretty much had a full strength squad there. So I don't know if I'd like to bring in Satya as well, since he was there on the field. Although I did get a question from one of our viewers. Since Satya's name is not in the scorecard, who was captaining Glads that day is the question I got from a member of the audience. So Satya, along with answering that, maybe you could also try and provide a bit of feedback. It's a touch of complacency maybe in your team on that day.
Yeah, I was there on the team, so I was
Okay.
there from the first ball to end, and I was fielding, but I did not bat or bowl. I felt he had a better bowling attack and the batting, so I I felt each one of them can change the game any time. So I was just expecting one person just to click, but I know they slowed down the pace. We spoke that, and we were trying not to go and hit the ball, but it was all like a couple of bad balls. That was Blad's is for. Like if you have a bad ball, we will tend to hit it. So there were bad balls, but there was a wind against little bit, and it never carried out because of the slowness of the ball. If they would have put little bit pace, it would have gone out for sure. But yeah, so if there is a bad ball, we will tend to hit. That's what we are trying to do. So there were a couple of twos. Yeah, we tried to hit a couple of balls. That's where we got caught at the boundaries. So yeah, I know they slowed down the pace, I was expecting the pace bowlers at least after the break, but they did not bring it back. So at that point, whatever, like I had like 5 wickets after that. So I told the guys not to go for it, just rotate it. The only mistake, I should have sent Vignesh up the order. He would have played very well the slower balls than a couple of guys, because they're all a little bit tend to hit the bad balls. But Vignesh is too
Yeah,
slow.
yeah, and I told Satya the same thing. I think the mistake was sending Vignesh at the last spot. I would have sent him a little higher because he definitely could have handled the this thing. So sometimes it's a question of adjusting on the fly, and I think there we missed a trick of sending Vignesh last because he's actually a very good batsman. So he would have been able to handle it. So I think we made a mistake on that particular aspect. But again, as I said, they did play really well, and you have to give them credit for that, and take nothing away from them on this thing. And yeah, with regards to your comment, Avi, on that, I'm usually my boisterous self. Yes, Avi. I mean, each of us has a particular DNA. I speak whatever is on my mind. That doesn't mean that I'm against you, or I hate you, or do any of those things. I just speak whatever comes to my mind. I just speak it out, and I have no offense against anybody. I mean, that's why a lot of people like to watch the show, because you don't want to hear only politically correct statements. You want to hear what an actual person really thinks. And I make
Absolutely.
some comments which are outlandish, but I usually can back it up, or I can say why I'm stating that statement. But at the same time, I think it's important to understand that cricket is also, or any sport, is about being a good sportsman. And if you have been outplayed, let's not find fault with somebody else. Look within ourselves and say, what could I have done? And I know, Avi, on my end, absolutely nothing more I could have done. I could not have done anything more. I've done everything which I could do from multiple angles with regards to time. I mean, you won't believe it. I might be the only person who actually went back and did a complete research on their team. And I actually, for all their possible 11, I even listed down, what balls should be bowled and who should be bowling and how they should be bowling. That's probably one of the reasons why we were able to make this a 60-run game. Because normally speaking, we don't study an opponent to that much. But I didn't have a very good feeling. And I went and actually studied everything. And I said, this is what we should do. When Parthiv comes, this is exactly what we want to do. This is what we want to do for this person. So we actually went back and studied. I looked at videos. I looked at, past data which I had collected and things like that. So actually, I
Vijay, can you share that with us?
About your play. but actually, I actually took two whole days where I actually spent only doing that. And then I remember on Friday sending an extensive list to Satya, because I knew Satya was leading the side. Hey, this is what it is, and this is what we want to do. And this player plays this. This is what we want to do, where we want to position our fielders and things like that. So we have done all our study and all our homework. We did everything. There was nothing more, at least from a preparation point of view. Where we failed is on the batting end. So let's put it there. But I think they executed their bowling very well, and our batsmen did not adjust to that. So
one question I had, Viju. Yeah. One question I had for you. So this happened to us, I think, 2019, when I was part of Raptors. We basically, throughout the season,
yes, you guys were number 1, and then we were number 16, and we threw you guys out.
Yep, exactly. So my question was, comparing those two situations, and I think my assessment after that defeat from Procrease was that throughout the season, during those 11 or 12 games, we weren't challenged. We weren't challenged in the sense that we never had a match where we came from behind, or we basically had a collapse and we, stuck it out there, grinded it, and somehow, emerged. Do you think that is one of the reasons why this kind of thing happens?
When you have a team like this put together, the thought of loss doesn't cross your mind.
The problem with that, Parthiv, is just because we don't have a challenge. what can you do in that sense? In the sense that if your opponent is not giving a challenge, do we just go and deliberately lose wickets to create a challenge? We can't do that, right? I mean,
Yep.
when we send a
That is
batsman,
also true.
when you
Yeah, you
send a
can't create
batsman
a
out,
challenge. Yep.
so all we then do is we create artificial challenges for ourselves. So, for example, one of the goals was, hey, how can we, first two games we probably didn't do that, but then after we realized that our batting is not clicking, we made some mental adjustments, and then we say, okay, you know what, we want to win with bonus, and we want to, do this. If we bat first, we definitely want to put such a high score or something like that. But these are artificial numbers which we have put, because if you're not getting a challenge from your opponent, what can you do? There is nothing much you can do. You can't deliberately go and lose wickets and say, guys, go get run out, go get retired out and come. If you go there, well, you score. And Shan has been scoring for us. Adi has been scoring for us. Hardeep has been scoring for us. Ronak has been scoring for us. They have been scoring. All these guys, Vaibhav has been scoring for us. It's not that these are pushover batsmen. I mean, we did what we can. And we sent Udit at 2 down just to make sure that there is no collapse. He's normally a very, very steady batsman, probably an excellent left-hander. But again, he got out to a high catch, which I was surprised, because I haven't seen him get out to high catches ever before. So
yeah, I think
this
this is just the luck. I mean, it's the odds catching up. I think this happened to India too in the last World Cup. They just were cleaning opponents, and then one bad day, New Zealand got the better of us. So that I think is by just odds. That you hope that you have one bad day in the season rather than in the playoffs. So I think that's the situation which I think normally happens. Is like when
Vinayak and Kapil too, but I did not have enough score to execute all those plans. So I just don't want to open up the scoring. So I have to just put it back. So.
Right. Well, gentlemen, as big and drastic as an upset as this was, I think we do have to move on to the next game. Obviously, this wasn't the only upset of the of the weekend.
It's two upsets back to back.
Next up is the other one. If one got taken out by 16, two got taken out by 15, as well, as we can see right here. Legends thrown out by the Kings 11. I don't think any of us saw this one coming either.
Yep. I think this was also another game which we all predicted Legends to just roll over and beat Kings 11, if not not as easy, but at least just get past them. In this case, it was the exact opposite. The Legends batting just crumbled. The first three wickets were without even scoring, and then after that, no partnerships, no support from anyone. Their ever dependable Harish also got out. He was playing well. I was watching him play when while we were in the break, and he was batting really well. And then one bad shot or one too ambitious shot, I would say, got him. And then there was basically, after that, it was just a matter of time. But even then, I think that 53, I think at one point in time, I was expecting the same, like 70 odd, to where they would normally end. Like, I think they were 30, 38 or 39 or something for 5 or 6. I would have expected them to at least reach 70 or 80. But great credit to the Kings 11 bowling. I think they constantly maintain that pressure. If you see their bowling, apart from Sai Koradi, I think everybody was very, very disciplined, giving under 3 or 3 per over, which is great. I mean, they did have a few wides in between, but all in all, it was a very, very disciplined effort. Especially if you look at Abhilash's bowling figures. To have a bowling figures like that in a playoff, 5 overs, 3 maidens, 4 runs, and 3 wickets is just what you dream about, or what your captain can just dream about of some bowler getting it. Especially against Legends, so that itself, the top order, Abhilash was able to control that. He and Sunil has always been among the wickets. I think he's in the top 10 wicket takers, if I'm not mistaken. But he's delivered. He's been their go-to bowler for wickets every match. And when we played Kings 11 the first time, I expected this team to go far. Yes, they had hiccups in between, and there were doubts about some of the players that they performed, but they are not performing on regular basis. They did lose a couple of games they shouldn't be, but they did beat KRCC. So I definitely feel that they have the team, but they have been inconsistent in a way. But I definitely feel they are way better and up two notches as compared to their initial, like their legacy team, which is Kites. I think they've got some really great talent, really great mixture of players. They play together, very disciplined and team effort, as you see. And if you look at the Legends, I think it was the same case of with Glads. I think they basically have through the pool B, they swept people time and time. Has easy pushovers. I don't think they were challenged too much, apart from maybe a game or so where they had to kind of dig in deep. But come playoffs, and another thing I think which is common is batting first in playoffs. I think that does sometimes, at least I feel, there's an expectations to set the game. There's a you basically go into a situation where you don't know what's a good score. So either you either are too circumspect, or you either are too aggressive, and then you're going to mess up things.
That's a
I
good
would
point here.
say,
That's what has happened to the Legends batting lineup. If you see, the top three
yeah,
ducks would have probably made them extra cautious, because you can see, at least just based on the scores to ball ratio, there doesn't seem to be an intent shown by the rest of the batsmen at all, and that's just cascaded through the lineup. And these are all
yep.
good batsmen across formats, but if you see their strike rates, I mean, it's I have a feeling they just went into a rut that they couldn't get themselves out of.
Yeah, and I think I mean, this is just my opinion, but I do feel sometimes in the playoff games, batting first, you always think about what's a good score, and
Right.
you think too much into it, and then you end up either scoring way less than what you should be if you're just batted normally. And batting second gives you that added at least a little bit of breathing room to assess and figure out what's the pitch doing, how much you have to score, what's the score that is expected. So I do feel sometimes, batting second in a playoff game has its benefits. But then again, there's an age-old saying also, you put the runs on the board, and then, runs on the board do count. So there's always the chicken and egg. And to be honest, I would rather lose tosses in playoffs so that I don't have to make the decision. So I think that's something which I'm more comfortable in, so that my teammates or anyone doesn't blame what we decided to do. I think when it's forced upon us, I think it's basically, you basically go in and you have to basically get on with it, rather than thinking about whether you should have bowled first or you should have batted first. Those kinds of, it's always tricky. I don't think there's one right answer to that. But in this case, I think in both the games, I think that was the commonality. I think both teams probably went for, in Glad's case, probably too many. In Legends case, I think they probably went too circumspect, and I think that could have been the reason where you see these guys, both teams kind of scoring way less than what you would even imagine. On the bowling side, I mean, there's nothing really for Legends. I think they did have a sneaky chance, albeit a little late. I don't know. I mean, again, just like strikers, I think the Kings 11 batting also panicked a little bit towards the end. I think they were very comfortably placed. If you scroll down, Satya, I think they were like 4 or 3 for 40 or something. Yeah, 4 for 40 or something, and then from there they just lost like 5 wickets in the span of one run. So if you look at like 5 for 49, 6 for 49, 7 for 50, 8 for 50, there was just that panic. Needing only 4 runs from 49 to 53, they lost 4 wickets. So if they had not panicked, and it would have been normal, the scorecard would have looked way different, and would have looked like a single-sided affair. It would have looked like Kings 11 easily beat Legends. But those last 4 wickets makes the scorecard look like it was a tight game. But in the end, I think Legends knew they were way short than what they needed to defend and win.
Yeah. Parthiv, again, I think that Legends. Let's congratulate them for a fabulous season, because they did throughout the regular season. There was nothing they could have done wrong. They had an outstanding season by all accounts. When you win 9 games, that's pretty good, or 9 out of 10 games. So they rightfully top their pool, and I think there are a lot of positives they can take away from this. Sure, I think getting knocked out in round 1 is probably not something which they had imagined was going to happen. But having said that, give credit to Kings 11, because I think their top 2 bowlers is what got the job done. Sunil Somavarapu, we had, who's this, the Kings 11 captain,
Vijay
Kamble come and tell us. He told us, watch out for Sunil Somavarapu. I don't know if you guys remember it, but he specifically told us that watch out for Sunil Somavarapu. He's an excellent bowler. And since then, I have been watching out for him. And no game has he disappointed. Almost every game he is having fabulous figures. But this time he got a partner in crime in the form of Abhilash Dandamudi. And what a fantastic outing those 2 guys had. They pretty much got support all around the board, with the exception of Sai Korodi, who went for runs. But when all the other bowlers are getting the job done, it's pretty outstanding. And if you look at it again, I think as good as Legends bowling is, 53 is probably too little to defend. But they made a meal out of it, and that's what good teams do. It's not that easy to score those runs, especially in playoffs. So sometimes, as you said, Parthiv, when you're batting first, I think one of the things is you can't aim too high. I think you need to understand that, hey, you need to stay at the wicket and you need to score those runs, and you can't be aiming like 150 on the board and things like that. Those are things probably not going to happen, because one, the bowling is much better, the fielding is much better, and the pressure is much higher. So all 3 things combined together means it's a ready-made recipe for making sure that the runs are not going to be that high. And so this is the challenge for those who are batting first. But having said that, it's an outstanding season by Legends. But let's give credit to Kings 11. Kings 11 made it to the playoffs. Not only did they make the playoffs, they have also made it to the quarterfinals. And they fully believe in themselves. And I'm sure they are looking to take the fight all the way to Indus Thunders in the next game.
Yep. I think one thing which was brought to my attention is both these teams, like this game here and the KRCC game. KRCC played Troy Hawks in the morning. Both these games were played on that same ground, and it was definitely one of those mornings where there was too much dry sand on the turf. So it hadn't rained that week, so obviously it wasn't settled down, and I think that was one of the reasons why some of these low scores. We'll come to the KRCC game where we'll see the new Pujara of DCL. We'll talk about that. But
it's kind of tragic that the word Pujara has become a pejorative.
Yep. So it was Shastri before, now it's Pujara.
Where there was Dravid in between, I myself have been referred to in that terms quite a bit. So.
People would take Dravid at any time.
That was precisely my response to being called that by Yogi's team once, actually.
Parthiv, can I share a secret? When I was young, I and Dravid played on the same team, believe it or not.
Ooh, wow.
Really?
Yep. In Bangalore, we used to play together, and I played with Dravid for 2 years.
Then did you play with Ravi Narla as well? Because I thought he said I think he's also been part of like a similar college setup or something with when he's seen
I have never seen Ravi Narla until I stepped into a DCL ground. All right, I can assure you that much.
Okay. I think he mentioned Srinath. He mentioned Srinath.
Okay, he might. I don't know about him playing with Dravid, but I played with Dravid. When I played with Dravid, Ravi Narala was not there. I can assure you that.
Okay. Oh yeah, no, he
But yeah,
mentioned Srinath. He's played with I think Srinath of Kamble.
and we had beaten up every team in Indiranagar, and then finally I arranged even those days I was good at arranging things. I arranged a match about 10 kilometers away, and believe it or not, Dravid's mother took us all the way to that ground. 13 of us in the same car in one white Ambassador, believe it or not.
Wow.
Nice.
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 So anyway, let's go on.
Awesome.
Parthu, I don't want to take away from Indus Thunder's great performance against
Yeah,
Michigan
I think
Raiders.
more along expected lines, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was more along the expected line. This is what we would expect from Indus Thunders. And and I think the Raptors game was two games which I think went according to the script and what you would expect to happen. But I would have expected MI Rangers to have a little more fight than what they had. Batting first, I think Indus Thunders definitely put the runs on the board, which you want in the playoffs. Anything over 100, 110 is going to be challenging. And there was a surprising hero for Indus Thunders in this game, which was Shrikant Yerua. We haven't seen the best of him through the season. It's being dominated by Praveen and Manoj Singh and their bowling also. But we haven't seen Shrikant in the fold too much with the bat. So it was great to see him contributing, and that was a very quick 50, especially in a playoff. 54 of 53 with 3 sixes. That was a real game-changing innings, I would say. And then equally supported well by Bangera at the top. I think he gave them a decent start. Yes, their main batsman Manoj failed to contribute, but I think he's probably a big match player, and come semis, comes finals, I think you'll definitely see him perform. So I have no doubts in his contribution and his role. What's his role going to be? But also, I think what is going to be really refreshing and encouraging for Sandeep is that there are other contributors apart from the big names of Praveen Bangera and Dinesh and Manoj Singh. There's Shrikant, and you probably want to also get contributions from himself at the top of the order as well. And then obviously we haven't seen a lot of their bowling being really tested. So we got to even check those. But from an MI Rangers point of view, I think it was from the bowling, I think it was a decent effort. We've seen that they've always been bowling well. Anush has been a star performer. He delivers here as well with those 3 wickets. Yes, they were. He was a little expensive, but I think those 3 wickets kind of compensate those runs which he gave away. And towards the if you look at the batting order you go to the batting side of MI Rangers, I think it was a no-show. I think nobody really, apart from the initial start, which Ifti generally has. I mean, Ifti is obviously, we all know that he's a hit or miss kind of a player. If he's especially sent up the order to kind of provide that swashbuckling start, and he does that. He does that 15, 20 runs, 30 runs, and just get them rolling. But after that, basically no contribution from anyone, and then just wickets after wickets. Everyone pretty much took wickets for Indus Thunders. If you look at their bowling card, it's very, very evenly distributed. Vijay Verma, Dinesh, Sandeep, Manoj Singh, all of them kind of picking wickets. And I think they basically, had the luxury of, giving a couple of overs to bowlers who generally you would probably not have to experiment. So I think Jalaj and Dinesh and Vijay and those guys didn't have to complete their quota of overs. It was pretty much done before they were actually needed for the second spell. So all in all, a very disappointing performance for MI Rangers. It was great to see them come through the playoffs, but would have expected to give a real fight to Thunders. Thunders, I think, like we have all predicted, their experimentation early on is over. They've got their big names back, and as I said, those 4 names: Dinesh, Manoj, Jalaj, and Sandeep. Those 4 guys, and Bangera obviously, are going to be always around. And as long as they are around, The Indus Thunders are in good hand.
Yeah, Parthiv, I think this was complete domination by Indus Thunders. Up till now, we were talking close games, but this one was not a close game. This was a one-sided affair. I think the champion just showed why he is the champion. And come playoffs, they are really striking on all cylinders. Yes, Srikanth Yerwa had an excellent game, but look at their bowling. Their bowling has performed well. And then on top of that, when your best player, who's this? Abhilash.
Yeah.
He did not
Reddy.
play. He's injured, right? I was told that
Oh,
he
he
was
is?
injured.
Okay.
He did not play this game. If you do you see his name there? I don't see his name there.
No. I didn't see it. I didn't know he was
Yeah,
injured. Yeah.
I was told that he was injured. I could be wrong. Maybe the information conveyed to me was wrong. So I was hoping that for Rangers' sake, that he would be fit by the playoffs. Now, injuries is something which none of us can predict, right? And we don't have any control over it. Glad's had an injury for Jeet, and we could not play him. He broke his finger, and he never came back from that injury. So, injuries is a problem, especially on a team which depends so much on you, because he was their pretty much their Michael Jordan, because he was pretty much carrying them all through the season. And so when he's also not playing, it was a pretty one-sided affair. So let's give credit to Thunders. I think they have moved on, and they have a good game coming up against Pokris. But isn't there? Aren't they playing Pokris? Or no? Is it Pokris are playing Raptors? Right?
We play Raptors.
Yeah. You play Raptors. They're playing against Kings 11. So again, I think it's setting up well for Indus Thunders. I mean, as long as they get the job done, they should be in the semi-final, where probably their first real test awaits them.
Yep. All right.
Speaking of the Raptors, there they are.
Yeah, speaking of the Raptors, I think it was another great performance by their batsmen, which basically, I think outscored MCC Miles even before they started to bat. Yes, they had Rahul Chenna, so that threat was always going to be there, whether he's going to repeat that performance again. But Raptors, I think there is a theme to how they've been operating this year is the top order. In this case, I think Kiran normally opens with Armendra, but in this case, I think it was Hemant, and both those guys gave a fabulous start, which you would dream of in a first game of the playoff. And as we have talked about, our Bahubali of DCL, he's been prime form, and one of the things which now he has going for his way is both Hardeep and one other person who's top scorer. I think both of them are now out of the race. So it's the race between him and Maulik to get the best batsman award. So and yeah, I mean the Pokris guys are also there. Not too far behind, but I think it's going to be a fight between him and Maulik.
Part of that 60-run difference is a huge difference, if you ask me, because now it's in the playoffs and it's not going to be that easy, So the 60 runs is huge difference. I think it's going to become between Amrendra Nuwala and Maulik Patel. It's as simple as that.
Yep, and both of them have been scoring. Yes, Maulik missed out on this game, but both of them have a decent chance in the next game. So it's going to be a close fight. But coming back to this game, they had the Raptors brought in Pradeep. I mean, Pradeep came back after his long injury, and he's definitely, a playoff guy. He basically makes sure that the middle order, he comes in, makes sure that he scores those big runs to ensure that there's not a collapse, and there's a decent tick in the run rate. I've seldom or very rarely seen him kind of getting bogged down. He's always there hitting his ones and twos. Not a big shot player, but every now and then he does surprise with those big shots as well. But he's always a very, very busy player, just like I think Vikas Bijam, who along those two guys, I think the Raptors batting, just basically kept on rotating and kept on picking those runs and kept keeping the scoreboard moving. So
goodness, all Vikas Reddy Bijam is looking to do
runs,
is to see which pair of hands he can hit into and run.
I think MCC Miles bowling, I think, lacked two. Yes, absolutely. He was a rabbit. I played with him. I played against him. So,
Arthur, we keep
can
losing
you guys
your
hear me?
audio. We keep losing your audio every now and then. I think you need to get a
Oh,
better high-speed internet at your house, my friend. Because even I'm having better high-speed internet than you. I
okay.
don't know what internet you're having, but you keep freezing every now and then. How
Yeah.
about spending a few bucks and getting some good high-speed internet, huh? Seriously, is that too much to ask?
I mean,
Look at this. You're that's what is happening. I can barely hear you, my friend.
I think it's the rains. I think the internet.
See?
Yeah, I know it's gone again. At least is my
Gone.
voice coming through, Vijay?
Yeah, your voice is
Can you?
loud and clear, my friend. But
Oh, okay.
Parthu Mehta, I can only hear a few words, and every now and then he cuts out. He
Right.
wants to make an important point, and then it becomes a bankrupt point because I can't hear what he is saying. So there you go. Now he's going to drop
Now,
himself. See.
now.
Oh dear. Even undoing the video didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I think now I think now we need to cut him off because we can't understand anything which he's saying. All right, I think let's look at this game, Avi. I think once
Yes.
again this is another one-sided game, if you ask me, because
Right.
Raptors really, the moment they scored 149, and you know that the game is over. They have the bowling to defend 149,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
credit MCC Miles in the fact that they at least scored 110. It was not like
Right.
a whitewash or something like that. But again, I think again you had multiple performances. Vijay performed, Sanjay Alangavan performed, but really, if they wanted to challenge 149, either Sanjay or Rahul Channa had to stay there and have a big innings. But again, Arvind had a very good game. Once again, two back-to-back games where he had this thing. So I think MCC
Right.
Miles have a lot to be happy for a team which has never made the playoffs to make the
True.
playoffs.
Very
That
true.
to beat Glads, to have a dream season where Rahul Channa scored a century. I mean, this would be a highlight year. Now, the only
Absolutely.
concern I would have is that they would build from here rather than take a few steps back. So that is the complacency they have to kind of guard themselves again, because you come up to the playoffs. Let's not miss the playoffs next time around. So it is a fantastic season for them. So let's give them credit for them. I think Sanjay Alangavan was the skipper this year, so he has done a pretty good job
Oh, Sanjay
making
was
them.
the skipper? Wow.
As far as
Okay.
I know, Sanjay was the skipper for the entire season. I could
Oh,
be
not
wrong,
Ram Saladi.
but Ram Saladi might be the skipper on paper or in the official DCL records.
He's
Say that
the
again.
owner.
What's that again, Satya? I couldn't hear you. You're not clear also.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
now we can hear you.
Okay.
Ram did not play much game.
Yeah, Ram did not play much games. That's true. But nevertheless, I mean, Sanjay was the skipper. So I think he should pat himself on the back that he was the first skipper who was able to take MCC Miles to the promised land. But Raptors, good clinical win. Again, I think whoever is playing Raptors should game plan and how they are going to control Amrendra Nuwala. Now, clearly, nobody seems to have an idea, but that would be the one of the jobs of a skipper. What are you going to do, and how are you going to control him? There are certain things which can be done, but clearly nobody has had the answer so far. But
Right. And not to lose not to lose sight of the rest of them as well, because this particular batting performance from the Raptors is very illustrative. Where you have 3 or 4 batsmen chipping in, and suddenly, before you know, you've hit 150.
Yeah, and I think of all those batsmen, I think Botta, again, this was surprising. Again, different people have different ideas. Last week we had Pana on the show, and he said he would not let Botta play this game. If he had a choice, he would not have Botta on the game. For me, Botta is a money player. I would blindly put Botta into the team. Okay, so I disagree with Pana, but I respect Pana's opinion.
I thought he said he hoped Botta would play.
No,
maybe I was or I don't remember.
I thought he said that. Yeah. He did say that because he was coming back from an injury and
Yeah,
he wouldn't disturb the winning combination. But yes, to be
yeah,
honest, I
yeah.
agree with Viju. Yeah, Butta would be there in any 11 for
Oh,
Raptors.
good
But
gosh. Yeah, no,
yeah.
I wouldn't imagine a Raptors team without Butta there. Yeah, no. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, for me, Botta is a key player because the guy
absolutely. Yeah.
can handle pressure and he's an excellent money player. He is
Right.
somebody who has to be there. It's as simple as that. And yes, he can adjust his game. So that is the beauty of the whole thing, is that he can play according to the circumstances. Yes, I know he was out with injury, but you know the old adage: form is temporary, but class is permanent. So
Absolutely.
it's as simple as that. So he has to play. But I think if you want to knock off the Raptors, you have to make a dent, and you have to make a dent quickly. And that is send Amarendra Nuwala back into the pavilion as quickly as possible. And you need to have a game plan. The moment you put that pressure on, you will see some certain chinks in the armor coming along. So I think Ravi Narala, if he's listening, he needs to have a game plan as to what he is going to do against Raptors. And so far, none of the teams have bothered to really have a game plan. And I think there is a game plan which can be done against Nuwala.
Absolutely. And at this point of time, I'd like to welcome Vinayak Kamble, of course, the other day, the star of um, the strikers batting unit, and pretty much being responsible for their team's victory. Vinayak, thank you so much for joining us. It's a real pleasure to have you here, and very well done last week.
Yeah, thank you, Avi, and other folks. So I don't know many of you guys. So this is the first time I'm joining this talk show.
Yep, it's a real pleasure to have you. And as we are discussing these games, Vinayak, please feel free to chime in with your opinions. You know, it's if you have any opinions or feelings about how a certain game has progressed. I'm just saying it's open for everybody that's on the call. So
Yeah, sure.
yeah, great, awesome. And moving on then is now this one. I'm surprised. Did I? I'm not sure if I saw a post from Vijay Shanmugam on Facebook or not, considering that they have probably progressed farther than they ever have previously, haven't they? Beating
Yeah,
Kerala
again, you guys are the Facebook experts. I don't watch Facebook, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But yeah.
Oh yes,
what was that, Satya?
Satya, you're whatever you're saying, you either need to keep a mic next to you, or whatever you're saying, we can't hear.
I know, right? You're actually speaking on the show, and the tragedy is that we can't hear you.
I think he posted, I said.
Oh, I'm sure he
Oh,
probably did. Yeah, it'd be.
yeah. So in this game again, I think yes, Vijay usually posts on Facebook. He keeps his team all pepped up and motivated, and keeps showing the analysts how wrong they have been about dynamites, and that gets the team going. I think I mentioned that. I think one of the cool things they do is they have trophies which are awarded to the best performance of the day, or it's not just one performance, but it could be multiple performances, which I think is really rewarding and really encouraging, and something which I would take a leaf out of to motivate my players. Dynamites have been.
Can I stop you there, Parthav? You're saying that they hand out trophies?
Yeah, they hand out like the small, like
yeah, I think they have like a rolling memento that they give to the star performer every week.
Yeah, I don't know if it's rolling or if it's an individual that they just hand out, but they basically just give the spotlight.
It's not a trophy with my name or anything, because I was going to ask, how do you put your name on that?
No. I don't think it's with the name. I think
it's just a little memento that they hand out. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say Dynamites have definitely been, at a different level this season. Things have fallen in place for Vijay. I think the batting, the bowling has really worked. The couple of additions that he's got in Prakash and, Arun Selvaraj and Arun Saminathan, I think those are the top. And Amrit, I think they have a lot of A's for some reason. They have been performing really well. Yeah, if you look at the scorecard, everybody starts with A. That's unusual, but that's something I noticed. So they've been performing really well, and I think that the cool thing is that I think they've been finishing really well. They've been, and that shows, the maturity of the middle order, of how they've been handling pressure. Obviously, we know, Satish Sankara from a very long time. He's been pretty much Dynamite's best batsman over a period of time, but now he's getting support. Now he's getting support from Arun and Amrit at the top, and then obviously Saurabh, again, Saurabh and Anil are always going to be a hit and miss. They come in, they can change games for you, but they can also get out. In this case, Saurabh just came in, whacked, took 4 balls and whacked 2 sixes, essentially put the game out of reach. I mean, at one point of time, I think Sterling strikers were in the game. I think it was a close game. I was following it. It was at one point of time anybody's game. I think Dynamites had it. Sterling strikers started really well with the ball. I mean, I think with the Sterling strikers, I think they had a disastrous start at the batting, but I think they somehow, Raza Ali, the lone warrior, which we've always talked about, he's performed day in and day out for every team he's played with, not only just Sterling strikers, but FHCC, Canton 11. He's been a standout performer everywhere he's gone, and even for Sterling strikers, come the big game, he and his contribution with his partnership with Ajaz, I think made sure that Sterling strikers reached 92. I felt like Dynamites missed the trick there. They probably shouldn't have given so many runs, with especially with Sterling strikers at 6 for 25 and ending up scoring 92. I think that one wicket, which was Razali and Ijaz, I think that basically that partnership took a long time to break, and which resulted in 92. And once they had 92, I think they Dynamites were in trouble early on, before the partnership started to build between Arun and Satish. Because if you look at the top order, Arun, Selvaraj, Karthik, those guys left in a hurry, and there was a time when things were in a kind of a balance. Like if you look at the score, the follow wickets there, 4 for 27 in 10.3, and when you're chasing 90 in a playoff game, I think it was going to be a little tight. But somehow, I think that partnership between Satish and Arun, I think took them home, and showed that experience is what is needed in playoffs. It was a very well composed innings between for both of them. If you see, even though Arun was a little slower, but I think he provided that support which was needed, and that's essentially what I think makes the difference in playoffs, is those couple of partnerships. And especially when the partnership develops, the bowlers start losing patience. They start experimenting, trying to get wickets, and that's where the opportunity rises for either extras, misfields, loose balls. So I think that's the key, and that's one thing I would basically give as an advice to everyone is, wickets in hand is the key. Yeah, it doesn't matter like if it's a slow start or you've taken your time, but wickets in hand would be the mantra for going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm particularly happy to see Arun Swaminathan's performance here. He's been around for a while. He's always he was part of the Pokiri setup for a few years, and I played with him also in Mishka. He's definitely got talent. He just needs to back himself a lot more, and I'm hoping that this particular innings at this stage in a playoff game will certainly give him that confidence and that boost that he needs. So I'm particularly happy. Brilliant innings by Satish, obviously, but I'm particularly happy for Arun to have notched his name up there in that performance.
Yeah, Avi and Parthiv, I feel that it is Satish Chakara's brilliance which took them over the hump here. I thought for a moment that Dynamites had missed a trick, because I was watching this game live for the most part, and then somewhere in between, Vijay paused the video of it, and then I couldn't see it anymore. But I assume it is Vijay who paused it, or somebody's paused it. But anyway, it was not visible anymore. But I believe the last over went for 21 runs. At 71, I thought the game was in Dynamite's hand. And the next thing you know, the 24th over to the 25th over, if I'm not mistaken, the last over went for 21 runs. I'm pretty sure of it, because I was watching that game. See, 21 runs, I was right. And that's when I thought maybe Dynamites lost the trick there, and they might have given a little too many runs. But again, it was Satish Shankara's brilliance. But as you said, Arun Swaminathan, Didn't get much opportunities probably in Pokeries, but now he's on Dynamites and he's getting the opportunities and he's making it count and he's had a good game. But without the brilliance of Shankara, and then Saurabh came and bang, bang, bang. And then just like that, the game was over. So as great a season as Raza Ali had, let's give him credit. He performed with the bat, he performed with the ball. We always know that he always is in the leading wickets taken category. But in this particular game, he was the sole backbone for Sterling strikers. So I think Sterling strikers have a lot to build on. I mean, they have certainly the talent. Clearly not enough to get them to the semi-final stage as Mansab had predicted. But I think if you really look at it, they have a number of good players there. So they are on the right track, if you ask me. I think you can expect much bigger things from them next year. And they probably might take a few players from some of the other teams, including from Glads, I would guess. So, but that's just, that's what it is. So if it happens, it happens. But, I wish them good luck in the off season. And congrats to Vijay, Shanmugam and Dynamites. And now Shanmugam gets to play his favorite buddy Parthiv, and they can and let's see them play mind games with each other. So I would love to watch that mind games which they play against each other. But
yeah, that's going to be a really good game.
The unfortunate part is Vijay already knows all my tricks which I have up on my sleeve. So it's going to be difficult to kind of come with something absolutely new which he doesn't know.
Yeah, well, you never know, right? You outfox this Willy old fox here, wily old fox that is here. So who knows what you have up for Vijay? We'll see.
He wasn't on the ground, otherwise it would have been a different story. But to be honest, yes, Vijay and I go a long way, and our teams have played together in other different tournaments. So it's going to be a good atmosphere, good, but we're going to play hard, and so is their team, I'm sure. But so it is going to be an interesting, because I've always felt like they have. Just like I think you have your bogey team or your bunny monkey off your back. I think Dynamites have been, that kind of a team for us. We've always somehow managed to mess it up with them. So this might be up.
Parthiv, last week it was Vijay Shanmugam giving you advice, and he said, Parthiv, Rahul, Chenna. That's what he told you, right? Remember that?
Right.
Remember the advice he gave? So this week, Parthiv, let me give you advice. All right? Vinayak, Kamble. Vinayak, Kamble. All right? Just remember that. Vinayak, Kamble, Kapil, Chowdhury. That's it.
Absolutely. I mean, we are definitely planning. Those guys are going to be there, and those guys are going to be in good form. So they are.
Nicely done. So now Vijay Shanmugam will spend the next couple of nights all sleepless planning against Vinayak and Kapil, and we might see Parthiv score a half century.
And the other thing, Parthiv, remember, put in a new rule in there. Vijay Shanmugam can't come from outside the fence into the ground at the drop of a hat, because that's exactly what he does. Because I saw Vijay Shanmugam, every time a boundary is hit, Vijay Shanmugam loses his cool. He is immediately in the middle of the pitch. So you need to tell the umpires. Vijay Shanmugam is out. He shouldn't be coming in at every drop of a hat, because all of a sudden Vijay Shanmugam loses it. So watch out. The moment you hit a boundary, Vijay Shanmugam will start, oh my goodness, what happened? Guys, do this, guys, do that. So I'm already putting some mind games on Vijay Shanmugam.
That's pretty rich coming from you, Mr. Zakaria.
Yeah, that's definitely something I can definitely use. Just basically play on his game, playing on his mind. Like every time he comes in, I'll probably remind him that he doesn't have to come in.
Well, we are joined now by the man with the sinister smile, as we call him, Samish. Welcome to the show. Always lovely to have you here, and eager to look forward to your opinions. You've joined us when we have, I think, still about 2 or 3 more games to analyze. So please feel free to voice your opinion. I said the same thing to Vinayak, and please feel free to jump in. But a very warm welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us tonight, Samish.
You.
I think you're on mute, Samish.
He's just listening.
I said thank you.
Lovely.
We'll finish KRCC Troy Hawks, then we'll go to Pokris game and that year.
Was KRCC Troy Hawks the last game? Yes, it is. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Are these the only 2
Pokris
games left? Yes.
Patriots, we'll do it last. So.
Okay. All right.
All right. So the KRCC Troy Hawks game, I think this was one of the ones which I was expecting KRCC to just sweep aside Troy Hawks. To be honest, last time when we talked in the predictions, I was expecting KRCC to just, roll over Troy Hawks, but it didn't happen. I think partly, talking to the KRCC guys, they talked about the slowness in the wicket. It wasn't rolled. There was plenty of sand, and it was dry sand. So there was a lot of balls stopping and coming. And I was following the batting, and I was at one point in time, I was really, really confused as to what is going on, because Maulik Patel at one point of time, he was 3 runs in 25 balls or something. And I I was commenting, is like, what's happening? Is he becoming like a Pujara? And I went to their dugout, and I was talking with him. He's always a good guy to talk around, and he always has a suggestion always. And he basically mentioned the same thing. He probably admitted that he went into the shell more than he would, and just messed it up. And after that, the ball wasn't really coming along, and he wasn't middling it. And I think it kind of proves also my point, which I was talking about, is like batting first. You're always in those 2 minds whether to what kind of target you want to set, what's a good score, and in that either you play too cautiously, too circumspect, and either you are going after the shot. But in this case, I think it was the key 25 runs from Tamim Oni. I know he's a big match player. You all know him from all the other leagues that he plays in Mishka, and his 25 runs of 19 balls, I think that basically pushed that score for KRCC from those 50 to 75, and those I think made all the difference, because KRCC has the bowling lineup. But I think if it was around that 50 or 60, I think it would have been tough, just like how Legends found it tough or Glads found it tough. I think it's those 10 or 15 runs which made all the difference. And in this case, same thing happened. And I think even on the Troy Hawk side, if you look at their batting, just too much respect given to all the bowlers. Like if you see the top 2 batsmen, 1 in 21 and 0 in 12. Like it's almost 6 overs or 5 overs with only 1 run scored. I mean, I find it very, very surprising that there is a bowler who bowls that well that you cannot score singles or 2 or 3 or 3 runs an over. So I think there was too much respect given to the opening bowlers. Obviously, Satish and Tamim are really awesome bowlers, but I still felt like Troy Hawks didn't really open themselves at the start. I think a good start was needed, even if it was 2 or 2.5, 3 runs per over. But just going into that shell of taking so many balls adds that pressure down the order. But because then in a low-scoring game, you're losing wickets, you're running out of balls, and that just adds double the pressure. So I felt like Troy Hawks missed that trick at the top. They should have had a decent start to go with, even if it was slow 2.5, 3 runs per over. But going into that shell just basically gave the game back to KRCC. But great bowling effort from KRCC. I think all of the bowlers really bowled well. Jasneet and Satish and Tamim. Satish has been having a fabulous season. He's been the highest wicket taker for KRCC, and he continues to kind of be that person who nobody really talks about much, but he's been one of the key players, batting, bowling, and obviously captaining the side.
Yeah, Parthiv, I'm not sure what Troy Hawks were trying to do. I think I have to be brutally frank. I don't think they came here to win the game. At least I didn't feel that way. At no point of time did I ever feel that Troy Hawks ever had any intentions of winning the game. I mean, maybe they say they had to this thing, but the proof is in the pudding. And I just felt that they They were out there just to take batting practice. But honestly speaking, they need to go back and look at their strategy and say, hey, what are we trying to do? I mean, it's as you rightly said, I mean, I saw, what was it, 6 overs, 8 overs, and the score was 1 run or something for no loss, or 2 runs for no loss, or something like that. It was some ridiculous score. And it was like, as you said, 21 balls and 1 run, 12 runs and 0 runs. I mean, this is not cricket. This is you just struggling to stay there, to stay at the wicket. I mean, hey, you might as well get out and come and go home early if this is what you come for. I mean, you reached all the way to the playoffs. This is not how you played during the regular season to get to the playoffs. Are you telling me Tamim Oni is that great a bowler? He's certainly not that great a bowler. Okay, he's a good bowler, all right? But let's not make him greater than what he's out to be. I mean, that's the honest truth. I mean,
wow, I stepped away for a few seconds and I come back to Tamim Oni isn't that great a bowler. This is fun.
Yeah. I mean, he don't get me wrong, Avi. I'm saying he's a good bowler, but you can't go there and play 21 balls and score 1 run. If you play 21 balls and score 1 run, then you make the next 21 balls count. All right. Don't get out. Simple as that. If you want to work yourself in, that's fine. I understand that. You want to get your get that bat stroking, and you want to get and judge the pace of the wicket. All that is fine, but then make it count. And I don't think the Troy Hawks. I don't think the Troy Hawks made it count. And I honestly think that that's simply not cricket. And it's about time somebody called it for what it is and said that this was garbage cricket. That honestly, I didn't enjoy the game. I thought, I mean, there was nothing wrong on the KRCC end. Please don't get me wrong. I just felt that the Troy Hawks approach to the batting simply, simply lacked any kind of seriousness in trying to win the game. So I'll call it for what it is. I don't care whether somebody likes it or not. If that's how I feel, then that's how I feel.
Well, we're getting slightly busier here. We have Vijay Shanmugam from Dynamites that's just called in. I also saw Satish Gaba's name from KRCC, but I think he just dropped out for a bit, maybe. And Samish just unmuted himself. So, what's up, Samish?
Yeah, we have 1 game to go. Then we got to involve these guys.
I know. No, Samish, did he want to say something?
No, not really. I was just trying to listen in, soaking it up.
Okay. And I see Gabaji back as well. So welcome to both of you as well. Thank you for joining. And I guess that brings us to the last game to analyze from the previous weekend. And oh boy, was this a close run affair. Pokiris versus Patriots. God, yes, I wasn't there, but my goodness.
It was close, and I think it was very eventful for other reasons outside of cricket as well. So there's a lot of, obviously going on for how this match ended up and, what went along. But I'll basically talk about cricket only right now. So in this game, I think Pokiris, I mean, obviously, we all thought Pokiris are going to win, but, this was probably very close than what even they would have expected. I think both Saran Raj and Neil have been their backbone. They've been constantly, piling the runs. They've been constantly putting the, giving them the starts. Vignesh hasn't been in the form that we all are used to. He hasn't had a great season, and in this game also, like he failed to open the scoring. But Prasanna came in between, and then down the order, Amit and the other Prasanna also. All of them, not Ron Prasanna. Sorry, scrolling too much. Okay, so Vishwanathan, the coming down. So I don't know him. But all those double digits on the scorecard, I think, as you mentioned, everybody scores double digits. I think you automatically reach a good score. I mean, 100+ score. So in this case, they were more double digits than single digits, which makes a lot of difference. Scoring 92 runs, definitely adds that pressure in the playoffs. I felt like Patriots bowling was great. I think we talked about Narendra Ane. He's been the pick of the bowlers, and I think Pokiris handled him well. They didn't give him any wickets, but they probably gave too many wickets in the form of, I think there were a couple of runouts which happened. So it was in the wickets. I mean, 3 run outs. Sorry. So there were 3 run outs. So I think it was some towards the end of the innings, probably some helter-skelter running that gave a few wickets away towards the end. But on the this game was probably followed as it was the last one to end for the morning session. Pretty much everyone was gathered there. It was great as it went into the last over, and I think Patriots were really favorites in their going into the last over. Sai Tota, I think he played a total blinder towards the end. His innings of that 24, I thought he would have just basically carried on. I think wasn't he the last wicket to go? I think he was on strike, and I
I
think that
believe
was
he was, yes.
yeah, I think he was, and he was. I mean, yeah, Patriots had everything working for them. He was the man in form. He had the run. So obviously he's watching the ball like a football. So you want the last wicket in that case to be on strike. Is you want your informed batsman to be on side, and he was on strike, and 2 runs needed, and I don't know, maybe he wanted to kind of finish the game with one shot, and probably went in the wrong direction where he wanted, and they just lost the game. And Pokris, kind of had a jailbreak moment. Just basically came out of the rut. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were on top at the start. Then Patriots came back towards the end. I think it was back those the last 3 wickets. I think those Sarvesh, Rajasekhar, and Prashant Reddy. I mean, sorry, Sai Tota wicket. I think those 3 wickets fell in a hurry, and got the Pokris back in the game. So it was kind of a seesaw balance. It was Pokris at the start, then Patriots, and Pokris back at the end. So it was a crazy game, and what transpired after that was just the probably the release of the steam and the gas from such a tight game. Basically what went along was probably that it was building up, that pressure and that heat and all that was building up, and then what gave out was basically just the release of that. So
Yeah, Avi, I think this was a very good game. I think last week itself, I told you that they need to play Narendra Ane, and I also told you that Ravi Narala can counterattack Narendra Ane, because whatever you throw at him, he has an answer, because he has Neil in his arsenal who can take out Narendra Ane and make sure that Narendra Ane is not that successful. So yes, Narendra Ane had great figures, but you can see that he didn't pick up a single wicket.
Absolutely.
So that's where I think part of the mind games work. And I think Ravi already last game itself, we said that, what Ravi can do to counterattack it. And yeah, sure enough, he counterattacked it. But again, I think this game was a very good game. If you really look at it, all the Pokris batsmen, numerous one of them contributed. And it was good to see Prasanna back in the runs. And I think for Patriots, I think they control the game. And this was, if you ask me, Patriots snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Because when they had Sai Tota and Rajsekhar there, Rajsekhar, remember, Nitin Karna came on the show and said that Rajsekhar is a very good batsman. He's an attacking batsman, and he is a person who can really hit the sixes and boundaries and things like that, just like Naresh Sundar and Sai Tota. But for whatever reason, Rajsekhar did not trust himself. And what I was told is that Rajsekhar went for a non-existent run and got himself run out. And this was completely Rajsekhar's fault. So my question then becomes, Rajsekhar, why are you doing this nonsense? Because you have Sai Tota on the other end. Don't you believe in yourself? Why do you have to give the strike to Sai Tota when you yourself are capable of hitting the big shot? So I think that's where the first collapse happened. And then after that, Sai Tota had the game on his bat. And I think it was a question of who wanted it more. Ravi Narala, let's give him credit, because he bowled the last over and he took it on himself to get Sai Tota out, and he managed to get Sai Tota out. As great as this game is, and I think some people might be wondering, what is Parthiv talking about, why this game ended on a sour note? And yes, it did end on a sour note. And we saw the email coming from Parthiv expressing handing out penalties. And for those who are not aware, there was I guess there was a lot of stuff which happened after the game. There was Parthiv puts it as steam, but it looks like stumps were taken and thrown at the fence. There was a middle finger shown by Ravi Narala. Let's call it for what it was. That's what I was told, that there was a middle finger shown by Ravi Narala to the opposition. And while all this is true, the question then becomes what needs to happen. But I just wanted to go on that penalty which has been assessed. And I want to look back historically. And I'm glad Samish is there, because it's going to tie into something which he did something a few years back, and he's going to be wondering what was it that he did a few years back, because I also did the same thing a few years back. Because if you really look at it, what's happened here is Ranjith Palaniswamy has been suspended for the next game, and a $200 penalty has been assessed on the Pokhari's team. Now, the problem with this is the next game is a playoff game, and in the playoff game, you have suspended one of your key players, essentially putting the Pokhari's team at a great disadvantage, because obviously Ranjith is a critical player for you. Now, the question then becomes, is this fair? Now, on the face of it, I think, remember, this is a playoff game, and there is a lot of intensity which goes into it. I am not condoning anything which happened with regards to the finger, and with regards to the bad language used, or with regards to the stumps being taken and thrown towards the opposition dugout and hitting the fence and things like that. I'm definitely not defending any of those things. But I'm going to give you a hypothetical case, Avi. And Avi, you can answer this question to me. You're on the Pokhari's team, and I'm on the Glad's team. And let's say Parthiv is bowling to you. It's a ball which is coming and striking you on your leg. And it's, let's say Vinayak Kamble is the umpire, and he gives it out. I'm just taking a hypothetical case, all right? I'm just using the guys on this thing. He gives it out, or let's say he gives it not out, all right? Everything is same. The ball trajectory is the same. The umpire is the same. The bowler is the same. Everything is exactly the same. Now the Glad's team comes to bat, and I come to bat. And as soon as I come to bat, exact same ball, everything is identical. But Vinayak Kamble gives me out. Is it fair? Answer that question.
I'd say good on you, Vinayak Kamble, and I'll have you on the show next week as well. No, but but no. All things considered, yes. If it was absolutely identical, then I simply can't fathom why there would be a difference in the treatment.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, Parthiv, please do not interrupt.
No, what I'm saying is this happens more times than you think in cricket. Like same exact situation, the umpires have a different. It's just the day and the way they see it at that point of time. So you can never say that two things are exactly the same. Why did he give it out the first time and not the second time? Because on a day, on a different day.
All right, Parthiv, I'm going to make it even more simpler.
Yep.
Is 2 + 2 4?
Yes.
Well, it can't be 2 + 2 is 4 for strikers and 2 + 2 is 5 for Glads. Let me assure you that. All right. The rules have to be consistent. That's my point. My peeve with this whole thing is I have a problem with the DCL committee, and I am going to take the DCL committee and throw them under the bus. And I know you are part of the DCL committee, and please do not interrupt me until I finish whatever I have to say. And I know Satya is part of the DCL committee, and I know you are part of the DCL committee. But I think you guys have given stepmotherly treatment to the Pokhari's. All right. And I'm going to say this publicly, and I don't mince my words. Because, and I'll tell you the reason why it has been a stepmotherly treatment. I think it is an absolutely unfair call to suspend Ranjith Palaniswamy for the playoff game. And I'll give you the reason why it is unfair. Let's go back to 2018. And Samish will remember this. There was an incident involving Mansab Butt, all right? And that incident was definitely a little more higher than this incident. And there was an incident where Rashid Malik was also involved. And both of those guys did pretty much everything which was involved here. Plus, I think there was some interaction where the umpire was pushed and things like that with the stumps or whatever it is between Mansab and this thing. The effect, okay, I was not there in the committee, all right? And the committee, today's committee is different from the committee at that time. And I'll tell you exactly what the committee at the that 2018 committee did. And I think it was a pre-quarter final game. It was against Indus Thunders. And I know that Sandeep Gopu definitely did complain. And this complaint came up. And the effect of that complaint was that Mansab Butt was suspended for the very next game, all right? And Rashid Malik was fined $200. Mansab Butt was fined $200. Now, same thing happens now. Ranjith Palaniswamy has been suspended for the next game. And this time, all right, you have only given a $200 fine, which is to the whole team. Granted, there might be slight differences, wherein the other one, there was, as I said, there was slightly a higher incident. I remember I was on the other end, and I remember sending out an email saying that, hey, guys, a lot of things happen in the heat of the moment. Please do not suspend a critical player or any player for the playoffs. If you're going to suspend him next season. Already Ranjith Palaniswamy has been suspended for 2 games the next season and this playoff. That is exactly the same thing which was handed out in 2018 too. You handed out 2-game suspension for Mansab Butt in the 2019 season, plus a playoff game suspension. Well, then I remember saying, and I was not even a skipper, and I remember saying, hey, guys, please rethink this. Do not take away the intensity of the playoffs. He is a critical player for them. Allow him to play. You already have fined him $200. You got the fine. You're also suspending him the following season. Let's not mess up the playoffs by taking that opportunity from that team, because why punish the team when the rest of the players really didn't have anything to do? It's that one player. And I'm not defending Ranjith Palaniswamy. Whatever he did was wrong, all right? And he should pay the penalty for that. No problem with that. Now, after that, I remember Samish sent an email. He too agreed with the same thing. Hey, do not suspend the guy. That's not fair. Not just Samish and me, a number of other captains also joined in and said, you know what? It's not fair. Don't suspend the guy for the playoffs. Suspend him for the next season. Don't take it away from that particular team. I don't care whether the team is Glads or GLCC or Brownstown. The rule should be the same. Well, now, in response to that, the committee had a rethink. And then they said, you know what? That's fine. We will not suspend him for the playoff. And Mansab Butt was allowed to play in the 2018 semi-final game. And he played it against Knockers. Now you can understand why I said 2 + 2 has to be the 4. 2 + 2 has to be 4. 4 is equal to 4, whether it's GLCC, whether it's Glads, whether it's Pokeries, whether it's any other Tom, Dick and Harry team. All right. You can't have a different set of rules. You can't have for a bigger crime in 2018, you did not suspend that guy for the playoffs. But now you're coming and saying, hey, Ranjith Palaniswamy, you're done for the playoffs. You cannot play. That's where I think the unfairness is. My question is, $200 fine that time, $200 fine this time. Yes, we are being consistent. Why we are not being consistent is the fact that you're suspending Ranjith Palaniswamy for the next game. Now what is happening is, well, you know what? The Pokeries are going to be playing Raptors. I would put an asterisk next to a Raptors win. Sure, it has nothing to do with Raptors. You know what? You beat those guys without Ranjith Palaniswamy. I somehow feel that that's taking away a little bit away from Ravi Narala. I sure you can fine him. You're already collecting the $200 fine. And guess what, Avi? Here is the best thing. The next season, 2019. They went back and rescinded the 2-game suspension too. So
I know, Vijay.
Okay, so my point, Vijay, please hang on. All right. You agree that this happened, right? So when you say I know this happened, well, my point is in 2019, our friend Mansab Butt did not have to serve the suspension. The suspension was cancelled. So my point is, why are we, for a lesser crime, treating Ranjith Palaniswamy any different? That's not fair. That's my problem with the whole thing. And anytime there is unfairness, I don't care who it is. I'm prepared to stand up and say, hey, that's not fair. That's not right. This is not the right way to do things. Here is the interesting thing. In my house, there are different dynamics, and I'll tell you the honest truth. My grandfather was a freedom fighter, all right, and he went into jail, and he spent lots of time in jail, and he got beaten up several times fighting for the freedom of the country. But he went and spoke his mind, all right. My father is the exact opposite. He's one of the most politically correct person I have ever seen in my life, and I am the exact opposite of my dad. So my point is that, when I'm saying something, I don't mean it against anybody. I'm just expressing my opinion. This is what I truly believe. If I truly believe there is unfairness being promoted, I don't care whether Parthiv is on the committee. I don't care whether Satya is on the committee. Yeah, he's my team member, but I think it's an absolutely horrible and rubbish decision. Let's call it for what it is. Hey, you can't have separate set of rules for separate people. That is absolutely unfair. Call it for what it is. Say that the committee is wrong. I don't care if the committee is rubbish and put under the under the train. They have no business. We put the committee in place, and we say that this is our committee members. We look to them to make the right decisions. And I am publicly challenging them, guys. Make the right decision. Do not suspend a guy when you did not suspend the guy in 2018. You cannot have two set of rules. Don't say that was a different committee and now we are a holier than thou committee. You are not holier than anybody else. I'm sorry. That's my few cents on that.
No, and I think just to add to what you just said, Vijay, I mean, it's the rules are the rules, right? It doesn't matter who's implementing them. What's the composition of the committee that's implementing them? I think there should be, just based prima facie on what you've said, I believe any inconsistency in how the punishments were doled out must be addressed. And it's certainly a point worth considering. It is an extremely critical game. Ranjith is a very crucial player for Pokiries. And to rob the team of his presence and his skills on the field probably is not fair on the team or on Ranjith for that matter. And
Avi, if I am Ravi Narala, this is what if Ranjith is suspended, I'm challenging my entire team. Guys, show up for the thing and let us teach everybody in DCL a lesson. Let's take it out on the Raptors. And if you are Prasanna Venkatesh, I have a message for you. Hey, you're Prasanna Venkatesh. Don't tell me your name is, show up as Prasanna Venkatesh. Show up for your player. Show up and give a performance of a lifetime. You know what? This is the game where you need to show up. I have seen Prasanna Venkatesh play when he was in his prime. He was a fantastic player. Maybe he has to change the clock a little bit back, change back the hands of time. He needs to show up and he needs to come and give him a performance of a lifetime to defend his player. All right. I agree that I'm not defending anything which happened there. All right. The Patriots were right in complaining and all those things. Yes, Ranjith should be fined, and yes, Ranjith should serve whatever penalty is appropriate. But don't give him a higher penalty than everybody else. And the other thing is that, you know what, the way they address this complaint also, normally speaking, when an official complaint is made, complaint has to be forwarded to the whole league. And you forward the whole league, and then the committee comes and says, you know what, this, we did an investigation, this is our findings. And then finally they come and say, this is the decision based on these findings. This is the decision which we have reached. Guess what? The official complaint was not sent out. Guess what? The findings was not this thing. They just came out and announced the decision. Why this hush business? If you have nothing to hide, display everything. You know what? We have a right to know. We have a right to have the information fielded out. Don't hush it up. When you hush it up, it always tells us that you're doing something wrong.
Vijay,
right,
if I can.
And the only other thing, Vijay, yes, I'll let you have your say. I think, and the other thing that we've heard this is what has happened, and okay, Ranjith was, we've heard Ranjith was in the wrong, we've heard Ravi was in the wrong, but we've heard nothing about what provoked that behavior. Again, like Vijay said, maybe the response was disproportionate, maybe, and I guess it's not condonable, but it cannot be that one side is all black and the other side is all white. So but you were the person that's, I think I wasn't there, but some of you were, and you were privy to what happened. So I guess I'll let you guys. Take,
Yeah,
but
so I think so. I'll basically defend. Obviously, I won't be revealing all the details because those are things which are to be inside, in the committee and in that domain and the forum. But two things. One is the Viju talked about the complaint being public and made available to everyone. I think that's something which we've deliberately made sure that there is no masala in the whole group and captains talking about things which they have no context or no point of actually debating or arguing and these things. I think concerned parties know what's going on. So the complaint was made public to the concerning captain Ravi and Ranjith in this case. So did the umpires, and so does the original complaint. So all the no, let me finish. So I think this was something which was done to make sure that this doesn't go out of proportion and there is no chaos which takes over what is currently most important, which is the playoff and the game.
When we have something to hide, we engage in those kind of arguments. You know what? When we don't have anything to hide, we say, you know what? This is what it is. I don't care what it is.
Hiding.
This is what
it's not about hiding.
On every other count, go back and look in time. Go back and look in 2018, 2019, whatever. Every time we reveal everything.
I
all right,
like
this time, this time we are not revealing nothing.
The deal is that I feel I've been with the league probably longest of everybody here. And what I feel is that every year our league has evolved. There was a time when game time used to be 9 o'clock and teams used to show up at 10 o'clock and there was no penalty for them, even though there were penalties in the rule books. So eventually it has evolved. There are fines given to players, or there are players asked to umpire the games if they don't treat the umpires well. And all these rules have come and they have changed during these years. It hasn't, not everything was implemented from the beginning of the time. And the rules are implemented so that we discourage things from happening again. If Mansab did something and he was banned for a game and then that ban was taken away, it did not discourage anybody else from doing it again, right? We have the similar situation again, and somebody is doing it again. Now, if we do the same thing with Ranjith, tomorrow we'll have a same argument. That way we are not going to improve. Again, I'm not in a favor of banning anybody for playoff games, but at the same time, I feel that we can't look at it as, hey, this team was treated badly and that team was not treated the same. I just feel that we are evolving, and every year we enforce more and more rules because we need to.
Absolutely agree. And I think the other thing I would like to add is, at that time, I think, yes, you're right, Viju, that we did that for Mansab part. But again, it didn't discourage anybody else from doing it. And the other thing is, I mean, at that time, if you make a mistake at that time, doesn't mean you keep doing the mistake over and over again. Because
the problem with that is, you know what, you are having selective decision making, because then what happens is you open yourself
to the be selective if tomorrow.
So in other words, tomorrow if it is GLCC, hey, I'll have a separate set of rules, and then if it is pokeries, I'll have a different set. So that's my point.
I would call it unfair.
That's exactly what's happening here.
It's not for a team.
No, yes, it is.
No, it's not for a team. And the other thing I would like to, before I finish, is that banning someone for the next season, that doesn't make sense, because then you are basically saying, for now I can do whatever I want, right?
Hey, you already fined him $200. He has already paid the $200 fine.
$200. I think the monetary, the bigger impact is the suspension.
Guys, can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
I do agree with Samish and Parthiv at this point.
Okay, Vijay, please go ahead. I know you've been trying to get in a word for a while.
Can I talk for a minute?
Yes, please.
So I'm not defending Ranjith. I'm not defending his behavior or whatever he did. But, like you need to look at repeat offenders, right? Yeah, you're setting a goal. Okay, you're going to set a goal like, okay, anybody misbehaves like this in the future. So what is misbehave? Throwing a stomp, letting his emotions out after the game. So you're going to do that, then be consistent, right? And if you're not being consistent, and that too in a playoff game, I mean, any professional game you take for a matter, these type of punishments are handed for repeat offenders. All right. If Ranjith a repeat offender, so you need to take into consideration: is he always doing this? Okay. If this is kind of a time where he let his emotions out. Did he really mean it? Maybe some words were said from the other end. Doesn't matter. His behavior is not right. We need to call. The committee needs to call. Ranjith has to apologize. Move on, guys. You don't have to punish a guy for something purposely he didn't go and throw us.
Exactly. That's my point. What was the provocation, probably from the other side, that resulted in such a drastic action on Ranjit's part? Because Pokeri, and the reason I feel, yes, you can say that I'm a Pokeris player, and that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. But the fact of the matter is, the Pokeris have been among the better behaved teams in the league. At least in my 6 years with that team, I have rarely, if ever, seen any instance of misbehavior from either the team as a whole when it comes to, say, challenging umpires' decisions or whatever. I've seen teams gherao the umpire. We've never done that in the past. And certainly there's been quite exemplary behavior on the part of our players otherwise. And it's and so because I said, it's hearsay, but
this year also,
I heard there was significant chatter coming from the Patriots dugout, including from people that were not part of the squad. So
right. So I think that itself, if things are not part of the dugout, I mean, there's nothing you can do.
Let me ask you the same thing. Parthu, I'm going to ask you the same thing. When you misbehaved or you did some bad words against the umpire, you and Vinod, you were awarded 2-game umpiring, right? You are not suspended. You spoke against the umpire. You told bad words.
No, we spoke a bad word not directed to the umpire, but it was spoken in conversation.
So part of that is the problem. It is a changing landscape.
I don't think this is the platform to probably today. I don't know. Maybe you guys want to do another show and talk about what punishments were given for.
Samish, I can understand why playoff teams might want to see Ranjith banned, but I don't think he should be banned. I don't think if you did not ban Mansab, then don't ban Ranjith too. That's being consistent.
I feel that every major decision sets a precedent, and if going forward there are other teams that do the same thing, I would like to see the same punishment for those guys. If that doesn't happen, then I would call it not being unfair. But as I've said, every year we have implemented something new. We can't say that.
Samish, we don't introduce a rule in the middle of a season. All right, we always So today you are having a abject ad hoc decision to suspend Ranjith, which I don't think
you can't argue with me with the fact that there was a time in DCL when none of the rules were implemented. Can you argue with that? There was a time when none of the rules were implemented.
Yes, but then the thing is that we tell at the beginning of the season, hey, this is what we are going to do.
No. There used to be a rule book even then, and none of the rules were implemented.
But then it's not in the middle of the season that you implement the rule.
Nothing has changed in the middle of the season. What I'm trying to say is that every year we have made some improvements. Okay, if there is improvement in my behavior or Parthi's behavior or our team's behaviors, it's because we have implemented these rules, and every year they have gotten a little more stringent. Again, exactly. I'm not talking about this particular
Parthiv got a free pass, Samish. Parthiv got a free pass, and Ranjith got thrown under the train.
Because I don't know what happened.
First of all,
scenarios.
it wasn't me. It was one of my teammates. I was given a
guys, this is. Guys, I think we've I think we wanted to have a spirited debate on this, but I think this is just going to keep going on. It's for the respective parties to determine the merit of it. I don't know if the
exactly
are going
I
to
don't
take
know
it
the
up.
details are either of both the incidents, so I can't compare.
So Satish, I hope this thing continues then to the next committee, whoever is selected. They make much more improvements then and make
That's
it much
exactly
more
what I'm saying. If they don't do it, I will be the first one to say, hey, you guys.
And Samish, how would you have righted the case for Ranjith? It will be too late for that, right? What is the use of lip service at that point of time? It would be lip service. You will say that at that point, yeah, you know what,
I want such things discouraged from this league.
So you already have fined the guy. You have already fined the guy.
I was the guy who would show up for the game at 9, and I had to wait for people to show up at 10.
Well, I also showed up. I also showed up at 9, Samish. We are not even talking about apples and apples. We are talking about apples and oranges.
What I'm talking about is the improvements in the league. I'm happy that rule was changed. You cannot argue with me and say, hey, that time nobody said juggernauts were late, so we can't say anybody's late today.
We are not saying that. We are not. We are saying that in the same incident, which
when we first applied this rule to a team, it was the first time for that.
Exactly, and I think one assumption is Viju, you are assuming that both incidents are exactly the same. I think you started with that assumption. Nobody knows.
That incident was more severe than this incident.
Exactly. How do you know that? And my only problem with this narrative.
How do you guys know that? You guys weren't on the field. You guys do.
No. I watched that. I was there outside watching that incident.
No. You're talking about watching Mansab's incident.
This incident I was not on the field.
Yes, exactly. So
I was there.
Nobody. So yes, you were there, but were you there at the Mansab's incident?
Yep.
You were there at Mansab's match also.
Yeah, both matches. I watched both. That's why I'm saying.
Yeah, well, if he says he watched it.
No. Okay, fine. That is fine. I was just wondering if he's really meaning it or he's joking. But anyways, I think the only people who are responsible are people who are on the ground, the umpires, and we take their opinion. So doesn't matter who are from outside saw it or you compare two incidents. It's basically, after all, what the umpires have reported at that point of time. In Mansab's case, the umpires would have reported, I don't know, I might have to go back. And in this case, Patriots team, the Patriots Pokris game, the umpires have reported what they saw. So if the
feedback that came to you was the fact that it was one side that was behaving like lunatics and the other side was as white as milk, I'm sorry, that seems unfathomable. That just seems ridiculous to me. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I don't think that is what we said. I think it's basically like something is more punishable than the other, and it basically is you have to go with what the umpires basically deem as something that crossed the line and something that didn't cross the line. It's simple as that.
I just think on balance, if you take into account the behavior of the teams in the past, I mean, when you consider the behavior that the Pokris have displayed consistently over the years, and the player in question is not a repeat offender, then I just feel robbing such a team of one of its key players in a playoff game is just a bit too stringent. I think that's just too harsh. I mean, that's. I don't know. That's pretty much what I have to say.
Yeah, well, apparently a few of our this thing, because I already got a few texts saying that there is no transparency. And Parthiv, you can take that, and the committee can pat themselves on the back on the fact that there is no transparency. I agree with a few of those people who texted me, and I personally felt that in this particular incident there has been no transparency. I'm sorry, that's how I feel.
Well, gentlemen, I'm sorry. I know I called this a few minutes ago. I know I have also been talking, but really we've beaten this horse enough. It is. I don't think any of us are ever going to be on the same page on this one, and it's just not fair. And just the way the narrative is going, I think it's not fair we keep dragging a couple of people's names repeatedly over and over again. So it doesn't do any service to them or the league. So I suggest we move on. Is that the end of the analysis of the play? We have our guests who have spent time. I see poor Vinayak already left the show. I wanted to ask him a few questions about his fantastic performance. It's a real shame that it got taken away. I hope he'll join back, Parthiv. I don't know if you can try reach out to him. But if not, at least we have Samish, Satish, and Vijay here. And I think we can go forward towards predicting or analyzing the upcoming games as well. I think some of these, I know, Samish, you were reached out earlier with some specific pointers, right, Parthiv? I think you had handed out what it is that we were expecting from them, which is kudos to you, Parthiv. I think that will help in speeding things along. I think we blindsided our analysts a bit last week but hopefully we've done a better job this week. So I
Yeah.
think
So
we should
apart from the KRCC GLCC game, which obviously they do not want to reveal their strategy and their plans, we'll have we will have them kind of do.
I'm ready to take advice from Satish.
classic Samish there.
Yeah, we'll have them kind of analyze each game, tell us about, as we had given, 3 players from each side that we should watch out for, things that they would do as a captain to, and what they see as the weakness in each side. So let's take up the first game.
Satya, could you please share the screen?
Yeah.
I kind of like this view though. I wish there was a way to retain this along with that, but oh well, some. Yep.
Damn, I'm still winning.
Are you? I thought last week would have appended quite a few of these.
Not
Still a
Let's
3-point lead.
and go back. Really? My goodness, how did that happen? I thought I got a few up over you guys by backing Dynamites, but I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. So, but just.
Oh, but I think we all got screwed by Glads and by Legends, didn't we?
Satya, did you bet on us too often?
I think everybody bet on GLCC last
Yeah,
week.
everybody bet on GLCC. Yeah, for sure. I can't say the same this
I
week.
meant his points are low during the season.
Oh, that one. He said that I told him he was light years behind. He didn't believe me. He is light years behind.
That I believe would be due to betting on GLCC. I'm not sure.
only 6 games with you.
But anyways, guys, let's get into the predictions and the analysis for the upcoming games. So how do you guys want to do this? Do the predictions first and then have the analysts present their pointers, or?
Yeah, let's do that.
I mean, you can do it at the same time, right? Yeah.
I think Dynamites versus Strikers. I believe this is a bit tough. Yeah, this is quite tough. I mean, well, as it gets to the business end, it is going to be tough to call them. But I'm thinking with the momentum that the Dynamites have, despite that shock that Parthiv and his boys inflicted on the Glads outfit, I think Dynamites can drag them down from their 7th heaven. So Dynamites for me this time.
I think Dynamites can pull this, but he has a lot of work to do on this, so I'm going with Dynamites.
Yeah, I'm counting on Parthiv to play better mind games than Vijay Shanmugam, so I'm going with Strikers on this one. So I'm expecting Parthiv to do Facebook and Twitter. If Vijay is doing Facebook, I expect Parthiv to do Facebook and Twitter and put one past Vijay Shanmugam on this one.
No, I don't think 140 characters is enough for Parthiv. Tips for Strikers to beat Dynamites. Parthiv, please be behind the stumps and keep jabbering away, but just don't cross that line that gets you suspended. But
yeah, never cross that line. Yes.
Never.
Never.
Yeah, right. I know, right?
Yeah, I don't believe that never portion of it. All right, not the Parthiv that I know.
No violence. No violence. It's all jabber.
Samish, between
hey, with the changing rules, even jabber can get you suspended, buddy.
But Samish, who do you pick amongst these two? Between these two?
I think with the way Dynamites have been playing through the season, they have been. I feel they have been playing good cricket. But the problem here is that I really did not follow either of the teams much during the season. But whatever I saw Dynamite scores every week, I thought they were either very close to winning the games, or they were getting very close. They were beating good teams or getting very close to the games that they were losing. So I feel, as you said, I feel they have the momentum. They have been playing pretty well, and Strikers coming off that huge upset, they'll have to repeat. It won't be the same upset, but they'll have to repeat a good performance, which sometimes in DCL is not easy to do. So I feel Dynamites might win this one, but again, I may have, I may have an angry friend here in Parthiv, but I'm sure they can
Samish, pick
strikers.
strikers.
Is just that Samish doesn't want to face us again. That's why.
I have a huge mountain to climb before I get there. But
Partha, with friends like Samish on your side, why do you need enemies?
Enemies,
yeah, you don't need enemies. Hey. Poor Partha keeps supporting GLCC all the time. GLCC. And then Partha finds the hard way when he comes on the show that Samish doesn't share the same opinion about his favorite strikers. Take that.
I just feel that Dynamites and Kings are quietly playing some good cricket. Again, as I said, I don't know what is clicking with Dynamites as much as it is. And what really it is, but them and Kings definitely they are quietly playing good cricket.
Vijay Shanmugam has been taking the advice of the analysts and then implementing it, and then he comes and puts the analysts under the bus and the train at the same time.
Right. Well, he's got a good recipe then, huh?
Satish, who do you think is going to win amongst these two, Dynamites or strikers?
I will refrain answering right away. Let me put some thought behind it, okay?
Please do right now. Now is your chance.
Yeah. So Dynamite and Striker, I think again all the quarterfinal is supposed to be very competitive and I think close games. As I read the team, Dynamite, I feel a little bit more balanced, comparatively Striker at this point, except experience that a Striker carries. Dynamite has good batting as well as the bowling options. And slightly I see Striker has a better batsmen, but slightly I know they have done great against the Glads. But I again felt that I think most of the people have already covered that Glad batsmen were throwing the wickets more often. So I think Striker has a little bit lacking on the bowling at this point. And I personally feel the playoff games in the DCL is dominated by bowlers most of the times. So it's always, you can't see very high scoring games all over. That means the bowler is working around, and even though if you're putting a less total while batting first, your bowler has to come and defend that. And that's what I believe. It's gonna be a close game. I'll give slightly edge towards the Dynamites.
All right. Well, moving on to the next game, which is Indus Thunders versus Kings 11, I believe. All right. Yes, I know Kings 11 have upended a lot of our expectations and have performed much better than any of us had predicted, but I still think Indus with their star-studded lineup will prove too overwhelming for the Kings to get past.
Yeah, I definitely think it's Indus which are heavy favorites. I know, like you said, Kings 11 has been doing exceedingly well as a team to look out for in the future, but I think this would be a too big of a mountain to climb for them.
I go with Indus too.
Yeah, I think Kings 11 had a good outing, but as Samish said, it's very difficult for Lightning to strike twice. So while I think strikers might win, but I think in this particular case, Indus is going to win this game.
I believe in this as well, but again, Kings 11 they have been the King Slayers actually last couple of years, so they usually show up and play well. But I think Indus Thunders is too huge a task.
Right. Vijay?
Yeah, I mean, last week I predicted it's going to be a very close game. If Legends doesn't bat well, it's going to be Kings 11 who will take the center stage, and that's what exactly happened. And exactly for Indus Thunders, the same thing. I mean, the formula for them is to, kind of support their batsmen, and Kings 11, they have very good chances. They don't have nothing to lose, so they can play freely. Doesn't matter who, play fearless. And I think again I'll take that same chances, 60% Indus Thunders and 40% Kings 11.
Okay, so Indus Thunders for you as well. And Satish?
And again, Kings 11 is somehow playing great against the good opponent. Like they have beaten a legend. I think they have played in this 2021 tournament. They have played 2 good games and they won. I think Legend, they have played 1 more game where they lost, but They have won against us again. They won against Legend. So we cannot wipe out Kings 11 chances. They are playing really good cricket. They have some of the match winners which can turn the game around, like what they did it against Legends. It may possible. Again, Indra's is favorite. I may also go with Indra at this point, but not considering Kings 11 will be another mistake that we can do as analysts.
All right. Well, hopefully Vijay Kumam and his boys will look at the 7-0 prediction against them as inspiration to front up well against Indus Thunders. Raptors versus Pokiries, and I don't say this only because I'm a Pokiries player. I genuinely think that despite their strength in the Raptors, the Pokiries can beat the Raptors.
Yeah, I'll definitely go with the Raptors. Been with them, played against them. I think they definitely are due. They've been in quarter semis so many times. I think this might be the year.
It's going to be Amar and Pradeep Kota. So same way how Prasanna turns up and Saran turns up. So, but I think it's a small edge to Raptors. So it's going to be a good game.
Again, I think it's going to depend upon how Ravi Narala handles Amarendra Nuwala. I think if he can get that early breakthrough, and then if he can just pump his team up, use this unfair decision against Ranjith, if he can use that to his advantage, and he can just make it him versus the committee, him versus the rest of the world, him versus DCL, and say, it's Pokiries versus everybody else. Use that as motivation. He still has a good chance, but I still think Raptors have too many weapons. So I'm going to go with Raptors.
Okay. Samish?
I think I spoke out of turn last time, so I'll continue doing that. But I agree with most of you. I think Raptors are playing good cricket, but one thing with Raptors has been that there have been only one or two scorers who have scored runs through the season. Amar will be a key wicket, and Butta, of course, will be a key wicket. But I do feel that Raptors has a slightly better bowling advantage with Anil back bowling, and Sai Manoj and Kiran. I think they have a good bowling attack. So even though this is probably a 50-50 game, in my opinion, I'll probably give Raptors a slight edge just based on their recent form.
All right. Nicely put. Vijay?
Yeah, again, this is one of going to be a close game. Both have match winners. And I think both captains will come prepared. It's not about Amar. I think that's the key for Pokiries, right? Don't focus on one guy. I mean, you have to focus on winning the game. You just have to focus on crossing the line. That's it. And same applies for Pradeep and Raptors. Both games are going to be, both captains are going to be competitive. But I'm going to go with Pokiries because I think Vicky has never performed this season. I think this is Vicky's game. Vicky will take this on, and I'm sure the team is supporting him, and big players come big in playoffs, and I think this is Vicky's game to step up and deliver.
All right, Satish.
Yeah, again, tough call. There are two advice for two things. First thing, if you can get Pokiries can get Amar quickly, that will put Raptors on the back seat. That's what I feel. Okay, because Amar is performing all the way. And second thing, somehow Pokiries has to manage those middle order runouts. You guys are actually somehow, I feel there are a couple of people in your squad who are too quick to take risky singles. I think I have seen across Pokiries 1 or 2 runouts that hurt most. That too in the playoff, where other opponents are desperate to take your wickets and you're throwing wickets on the middle way. There are two things that I feel if Pokiries can manage, to stop runouts and get Amar, that's Pokiries' game. Neil, Anna, Vignesh, they are little of my favorite, if you ask me. Like, I know Prasanna can turn. Viju was mentioning Prasanna did not perform I think he's not playing enough cricket. He still has the cricket in him.
Right.
It's just that he's not playing enough cricket as Amar or anyone else that he's scoring. If he play the full season, he'll be on top of the chart. That's what I see him.
So Pokeries in favor of Pokeries then, slightly?
Yeah, only two concern. If Amar is hitting, it's Raptors day. You cannot stop him and
Okay,
hitting.
but you got to pick one. So who are you picking at this moment?
So Poker is at this point, considering you guys might hold Amar.
All right. Well, that's those were good points, Satish. I will. I'm sure the Pokeries guys, other than me as well, are watching. So we will certainly take that into consideration. KRCC versus GLCC. For me, this one was the toughest to predict. I mean, I I really don't know what to to say on this one, but I am. Yes, despite Samish sitting there with his sinister smile, I'm going to say probably KRCC.
If I had a chance, I'd pick a lifeline and switch the opponent.
Well, this is a tough call because I think I have friends on both sides. Played with KRCC guys a lot, played with GLCC guys a lot, but I think I'm going to go with experience over talent and skills. I think I've always admired how GLCC plays and how their experience with the top players. I mean, they just come through. It's just a matter of time. So come with Akash back in the side. I think I definitely feel like GLCC has a balance now. So we'll go with GLCC. Even though Samish didn't go with us, but I'll still stick.
I knew this.
Ever the GLCC loyalist, Parthiv. Yeah.
I owe you a beer, Parthiv.
It's going to be a
Vijay?
tough game.
Oh, okay.
We know that, but yeah, I'll go with KRCC.
All right, Viju.
Well, I think this is going to be probably the best game. I think it's a very good game. It's going to be I expect it to be a close game, but having played GLCC and seeing what they have, I think, especially with Akash playing, I think Akash will create problems for Tamimoni. So as much as Tamimoni is a great player, I think he is going to have some problems with some of the moving ball. So I'm going to go with GLCC on this one.
All right. Vijay?
2-2.
So I can't really predict this game again. Don't scold me because I know Gaba ji. I mean, I've seen Satish. Both are cool-headed captains, right? I mean, and more weapons are there in KRCC side, but remember GLCC has been always in semifinals, finals, and won the tournament so many times. Again, success for if I see a successful GLCC team, I think they lost close games in the league. I don't know why. I mean, Samish can tell that because those were the games they were supposed to win. But because there were all new players added up in that game. I know Pradeep Bhai was umpiring a game, and then GLC was playing a game in the league. So I don't know, like what's the secret behind sitting some of the key players. But I think GLC is evolving to be a younger team and much dynamic team. But I will give the edge to KRCC just because of their newborn identity and newborn form, how they put the team together. So slight edge to KRCC from my opinion in this.
All right, great. And then we know how the rest of our guests are going to predict.
Yeah. So Samish, quick question: is Hemant Chilavaya going to be fit enough to play the game? I mean, I know he's had an injury, or at least that's what I was told, but I don't know. I mean, would he be?
Yeah, we are still waiting on that. He did play a game over on Sunday last weekend,
Okay.
but I don't know how he's feeling about playing a playoff game. You know, it's different. You want to. The other game was for Fall Cup. It was the first game of the season. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to push yourself. But with playoff game, you have to be in the game. You have to play those 50 overs, and and contribute and make a difference. So I don't know if he's ready for that. We'll probably find out in coming day or two, especially with the weather. We don't know what day the game is going to be to begin with. But yes, we'll love to have him in the team. If he's fit, he will be in the team.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty obvious. I was just not sure if he was close. I know that he was supposed to come back, but yeah.
The good news is that he played a game, so we are hoping that he will make himself available. But at the same time, we are not pushing him too much as well, because if he's hurt, we don't want to make it worse.
Yeah. I think Parthiv wanted to ask a question to you. Remember your question, Parthiv? This was about the Manpreet Singh. He's on mute.
Yes, sorry. Yes, I wanted to ask you, Samish, what's the rationale behind having Manpreet Singh, continuing with him, even though I think he's basically failing all this while. So what's the? Are you using him as a bowler or a batsman? Because I know he has great skills as a bowler as well. So what's how are you picking him in the team?
Yeah. So the main idea is that he is giving us some cushion with bowling to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we know that he's a batsman who can change the game. I do understand that he hasn't had a lot of cricket recently, but at the same time, I saw him bat in a couple of games which were not DCL games, and he showed those flashes of brilliance that he used to play with.
Yep.
And again, with a cricketer like Manpreet, you just need him to click one day. We have 3 more games to go. We just need him to click one game, win us a game, and then I'm sure with the kind of people we have, somebody else might show up in other games. So it's not that we are totally dependent on him, but I do think that he adds value as a bowling option. And he's one of those batsmen who can turn a game for you if luck favors him and us.
Yeah, I think that's what we've been also analyzing, that there basically is a game changer. But there's been so many games that
and a lot of things. We had to deal with a lot of injuries, and some people had schedule conflicts. So it became important for us to add that additional bowler in our team to make sure that we had enough bowling options going into the playoffs. Again, we'll pick a team based on who all are available and pick the best 11, but he's not there just to pad the team up, just to fill the playing 11. He is there to make difference. So we are hoping he'll do that.
Sounds good. All right. What do you got, Avi?
Great. No, I guess if there's no other questions, we can wrap up proceedings. I guess we are up for yet another exciting.
I thought Avi, you were going to ask these guys questions. That's what I thought you brought them on, not for predictions. I thought you were going to ask them. Parthiv, I thought, sent some special questionnaire which he prepared. You guys completely forgot that?
No, I think the questions were basically part of the head-to-head, like what would you do? But yes, I basically we can go to a each game, and maybe you can point out what.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised we didn't discuss that during the predictions and the analysis of the upcoming game. So I just thought maybe we weren't doing it for some reason. I don't know.
No, I think it was coming out naturally. I think in every game, I think we were talking about it, and it was coming out naturally. Like for example, Raptors Pokhari's game. Basically it was unanimous that get Amar out, and you are in the game. So it was. I mean, those kinds of discussions were exactly what we were planning to do. Is how would you beat the other team? Who are the key players? Those kind of things.
Vijay is just appalled that we still have 30 minutes left on our usual 3 hours.
That is true.
He's like, how dare you call it quits before 3 hours?
I don't know. I thought you guys brought them to pick their brain, because we know Samish has a great brain and we know Gaba has a great brain. So I thought you were going to use them to give strategies to Dynamites and a few other teams as to what they should do. But
That would have
I
been
thought
great had Vijay Shanmugam stayed here. I don't know if he just got pulled back in to have dinner or what. He just dropped off. I was hoping
okay.
he's the one that usually says, you guys don't support us enough. You guys need to give us ideas. So
Maybe he has internet connection like Partha. That's probably the reason.
No, he was there. He was there for the Patriots Pokris controversy. I think he wanted to make sure he was there for that.
Okay.
No, but Viju, if you have anything, please go ahead.
No, I don't.
You and Parthiv are the guys that usually grill our guests. So it's
no. I mean, I thought I was going to let Parthiv drive this, because that's why I thought he's the one. Vijay Shanmugam just joined us again. So, but anyway, I thought Parthiv prepared these questions specially for Samish and Gaba and gave them ahead of time.
I do have a question which is basically more generic. So I was talking about this in this session is, what as captains do you guys think about winning the toss, especially in playoffs, and how is it different from the regular season game? So does that change? Did you guys go through and think about it differently? So I'll let Samish. What is that?
You need to answer first.
I already said I prefer to lose the toss so that I don't have to make a choice.
So Partha, I always like that, when I always go back and tell my team I lost the toss, because I have so many suggestions from my team. Why did you ball? Why did you, so I always tell, we lost the toss, we are bowling.
Exactly. So I wanted to ask these two guys, like, if you guys win the toss in regular season game versus playoff games, does that change in how you approach of what you're going to do?
I'll let Satish take that first.
So maybe we can talk.
First of all, you lead this team. Okay, I can give my opinion as an analyst only, like not from KRCC. So I agree with Vijay. Playoff, losing the toss is the best thing. And
so
again,
Satish, go ahead.
Let me complete it, Vijay.
Yeah.
What I think, there should not be a basic method actually. If you ask me, there should not be a basic method where you decide, okay, I'm gonna bat for all the games, where I'm gonna bowl all the games. It's all depend upon the opponent also, and sometimes depend upon the pitch also. Now, Novi is very critical at this point. I'm not sure why we did not talk about Novi ground at all. We talked about so many other stuff which may not impact the future game, but we did not talk even a single minute for the Novi Power Park grounds.
I want to talk. I want to bring that up. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Actually, Satish, I was planning to ask that question next. Is that Novi Power Park grounds behaving properly? But anyway, you brought it up.
Not at all. Believe me, Vijay, not at all. Okay.
Okay.
We actually felt like requesting opponent. Can we come in a mutual agreement where we can swipe the pitch for after 6 overs, because so much mud is coming and the ball is behaving nonsense.
Okay.
But DCL rule does not allow. We did not ask. This is just the thought I'm saying. The Novi Power, we should. I know that DCL is backing Novi Power from so many years for all the playoff games, but this is the time. I think we did explore so many other good grounds, Drake Sports Park or many other good grounds where we can play a better cricket, but not Novi Power Park. Even Venkat sir was umpiring our game. He did see that, and he was from the committee. I did say that, is this possible that you guys can think moving quarterfinal? This is again my honest discussion. I'm not representing anyone. I'm just representing myself as a player. Is this possible to move Novi Power Park? Because it's not giving fair chances, right, to all the players to perform. All the most of the low scoring game happened because of Novi Power Park pitch was not supporting batsmen, or I would say extraordinary supporting the bowler, where the ball was not bouncing or bouncing abrupt.
Yeah, I heard quite a few murmurs about the pitch. Even,
I want to bring that up. I think we saw an email that for the playoffs the grounds will be rolled, and I went to the ground at 7:45 a.m. Viju, and it was like beach volleyball.
Well, I believe you. I believe you 100%, Vijay. guess what? Go and ask Satya what I told him. Satya will tell you that I told him, yeah, they're saying that it will be all rolled and, all pressed and everything. And I told him not one thing will be done. And I was exactly right.
So at least the afternoon games were pretty much rolled up because of the morning games, right? Because I think in our game we swiped.
Please tell that to the Glad's team.
Okay.
No. The grounds in the afternoon games were the same. I mean, they weren't rolled or anything.
It is the same, I believe. Yeah. It is the same.
No. What I meant was we already cleaned it up for you guys. Whoever played the morning game, we cleaned it up. And I don't think
you guys' game happened on the ground where we had our game in the morning, didn't we?
Yes.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
NPP, yeah.
I think to be honest, I think the reason why Novi Power Park is the preferred choice is one, it's central to every people, all the players who come along. Second, I think it affords audience and better viewership for DCL games, especially in the playoffs, which obviously is a great way to promote DCL and Detroit Cricket League. So that's definitely one of the things. And I think the other reason is the other grounds like Woodhaven, for example. I think Woodhaven amongst all three is the best in terms of the way the ball comes on the bat and high scoring, but it's too far away to actually have people kind of travel all the way there. And so I think that is, and I think Drake Sports Park, I'm not sure, I can't really comment. Probably Jagan knows better. I think there might be conflicts and stuff in there in the West Bloomfield grounds, but I know what appeals for Novi Power Park. I think it's the central location and the audience that it.
I think Parthiv, I don't think it is Drake Sports Park was not available. I think it was available. I think it is more because you had 4 games which you need to conduct, and Drake Sports Park has only 3 grounds. So I think that's why logically it makes sense to play in Novi Power Park. But I think the ground is a problem.
Yeah, the only thing Patu considering Novi Power Park last year to this year, I don't know, maybe for baseball they have so much sand to prevent injuries when people are running between the bases. I don't know, but I mean this year we are seeing a lot of sand in the main pitch. So
that's okay. One time you play in Australia, one time you play in India. It's like a bowling track versus batting track. So I feel it's just like cricket. You have to get adapted to it, whatever it comes.
All right. Next time you bat first. I'm not going to clean that pitch, okay, Partha?
I mean, you basically can do only so much. You can just clean the batting crease and hope that things work out. But I guess I think some of the things are not in our control. I mean, it all depends on the city and the people who work for it. I mean, whether they do it, and there's little monitoring going on.
Right?
Whether, but there's little, but it's little monitoring. And to be honest, like I don't think there is someone who's going to check and keep checking like whether they did it or not. It's very difficult to keep up with that.
Samish, quick question: who do you think comes into the final from the other side?
Oh man!
I didn't ask from your side. I'm talking from the other side.
So from our side, it's us. Now the other side, I would prefer Raptors. I would guess.
Okay. Yeah. My question was to Samish.
I agree. From our side, it's probably going to be Strikers. But I think until somebody beats Indus, I would pick them to go through to the finals. I know Raptors have been playing well, but again, I feel Amar probably will have trouble scoring the way he's been scoring against Indus, and that's where players like Botta and Vikas come into picture, who can play the small game as well as the big game. I would think Indus will go ahead from the other end, but again, with so many teams, I think this year is probably the toughest playoffs ever. If you guys agree with me or not, and I feel even Kings 11 is capable of beating Indus for that matter, because they play the kind of game which you think you have it under control, then you don't. So
Yeah, I agree. That happened to us. Yes.
yeah, and that's how they are, and even they could create an upset tomorrow. But I think until somebody beats Indus, I would pick them not only to come to the finals, to even win it, right? Because they are the incoming champions, and they have been playing like that for the last 3-4 years now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's time for a new champion, I feel.
Yeah.
Go Strikers.
Go Dynamites too. You guys can be new champions as well.
Hey,
Oh,
So,
that's right.
it can be only one of you two, okay?
Oh, come on.
Hey,
yes,
both of you.
how could we forget the perennial chokers? Pokris, you guys are absolutely need to win this.
No, I think Pokris are missing the trick by keeping the opener, the lefty guy. You guys need to push him up.
Yeah, money, right? Satish Money?
Last year's highest run getter went to
not there.
Pokris. And
Raghu, I
It's
believe.
not there.
yeah, Raghu.
Oh,
not there.
Raghu. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Raghu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you need to push Raghu up, push Prasanna up. You need to. I don't know what Vicky is doing opening the innings, if you ask me, because number one, you are putting him facing he's probably your best batsman right now, but he's facing the best bowlers if he's opening. And
So,
Samish,
no.
Samish,
No,
you won't believe it. Samish,
I think
you
what
won't
happened there. No, what
Samish, you
happened
won't
there.
believe it.
What I heard was that the regular opener Amit, he actually got delayed due to some whatever reason. So I think Vicky was kind of forced to just go in because the game started and Amit wasn't there. I think that's what happened on the last occasion. At least that's what I heard.
But you know what? The irony here is that up until a couple days back, I've been asking everybody around what I should do with our team, and here I'm giving you advice on what to do with yours.
It's always easy to give advice.
Yeah, but I feel he's a little lost. Raghu is a little lost at where you put him, and he had done very well as an opener last year. So I feel that might be a trick for future, because you have Prasanna, you have the guy Vijay is talking about, Neil. You guys have a solid middle order. You just need to make sure your openers play long enough.
I didn't know Raghu ever opened. I mean, this was
He opened the whole season last year, yeah, and he scored some 300 runs.
For Stingers.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he was playing for other team, I believe, not from
Stingers. That's the team. Yes, right. Oh wow, I didn't know he opened. Okay.
He was the top scorer and good wicket taker also. I think he was running over the MVP. I don't know who got it, but I think he was top 3 MVP in the last year, 2019.
And Avinash, I'd like to see you bowl more.
Well,
they have to first play him.
Yes, that's right. That's
he needs to play.
You guys can help me out. Please tell me what I should do.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
I said you guys can help me out too. Just tell me what I should be doing.
Well, Samish, I think you already corrected that in the previous game because before that we were lost. We were like, what in the world is going on? We have no clue what is going on. This makes no sense. And we discussed this openly. And we were like, we have no idea what GLCC is doing. And I personally said, I have no clue what's going on. I mean, all of us were baffled. I mean,
believe it or not, I was too for some time. But again, we had a lot of new people, so we wanted to give them a fair chance.
Right.
And that was the main thing. But again, having a lot of people is also a problem, because then I'm better with having lesser players. I like bringing out better from players who are not stars, but I'm not as good as with. I could never lead a Gladiators team because I won't know what to do with all of them.
The only thing in the last batting order I would question is Vaibhav coming so at the bottom. But that was the only thing. I don't know if
especially after you flew him in from California.
Was he in California?
Yeah, I guess he's moved for his job. So I was quite surprised.
No, I think you're mixing up with the from the Glads, Avi.
No, I was talking about Vaibhav Khanna.
Oh, Weber Khan. I'm
GLC.
sorry. Yeah. Oh,
GLCC
I'm
guy.
sorry. I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah,
Weber
that would have
Glad.
been a news to
My
me.
bad.
No,
Yeah, that
Avi,
was.
we didn't fly him in. He was here on work, so he just stayed back and played.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so that would be the only thing, Samish, which I thought maybe Vaibhav needs to go up, especially considering he's a left-hander. I think that definitely adds that changing the line and length of the bowlers.
Weibo was late in Venmoing my $50. So
That makes sense then. That makes absolute sense.
all right, guys.
All right,
Good
guys.
chatting with you all.
Nice chatting, and thank you, guys. Thank you, Samish, for coming. Thank you, Gaba, as always, for coming, and thank you, Vijay Shanmugam, for providing instant spice.
Yes.
But good luck to all of you in your games.
Thank
I
you
hope
very
you
much.
guys. I hope you guys broadcast the game. I mean, I'm a big consumer of DCL. You know, I just watch
I think
anything and
everybody
everything
is.
somebody sends with it.
I
But
think
you know
yes,
what? The
yeah,
problem is
I-
we don't know the links. You know,
I know.
somebody
I
just-
called Viju. I didn't realize their game was an afternoon game, so I called him, and there was this huge ruckus going on in the background. I said, Viju, wait a minute, it's like almost middle of the night for you guys. Are you out somewhere? And he said, No, I'm watching the Glads game on television. So I was like, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
No,
I
the
put it on
easiest-
my big screen television and I watch the whole thing.
So Viju, the best thing to do is go to YouTube and search for team channel. Like Strikers has one. I'm sure KRCC will have one.
Pokeries
Blasters
has
have
one.
one. Pokeries has one. So-
But no,
Yeah.
Pokeries is it live? I mean,
Yes, it is.
my question
Oh.
is the Strikers
Yeah, it
game.
is
Is
live.
it live?
Yeah.
Yes, it is
Pokeries
live.
may not be live. Yeah.
Yeah,
Strikers is live?
Strikers is live, and I know pretty much every team does that. I think KRCC does that too, right?
Yes, KRCC does live Maulik Patel's channel.
Yeah, so
Maulik Patel.
I watch KRCC because Maulik sends me the link. So I get to see the KRCC game. So that's
GLCC doesn't. I think they're still old school.
We don't like to watch ourselves play.
No, but
Anyways, yes.
it's a great tool for people sitting at home. They sit and watch the game and look at the
It is. I'm
scorecard on the
actually-
thing.
Yeah, I'm
I'm sure,
thinking
yeah,
about
5
it,
years down the
especially
line,
if
I'll
you
look
do
for
it through the if you do it through Crick Clubs, it has the score on it.
Yeah.
Yep,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that costs, but whatever it is, I mean, it's a great tool, is what I think.
It's free.
I think
It's
it's
free for
part
1
of
year.
it.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
free for 1 year. For
Okay.
DCL.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
Anyways,
sweet.
I think best of luck for everyone in the games. I hope that there is a game considering the weather we are having. So
Yeah, it's fair.
yeah, so hopefully we have a game and we have a great weekend. So
All right.
Well, I
Good
think
luck,
there
guys.
is some sunny weather forecast for Friday and Saturday. So hopefully,
Yeah.
after all this,
Hopefully, yeah.
the rain, there'll be just enough rut marks, maybe, or foot marks, whatever, in the pitch, and then those of you that win the toss, God save you, and those of you that escape from having to make a decision, good on you.
Probably this
but-
rain might help that Novi Park power park.
Yeah, yeah, right, yeah, exactly.
But by the way, Gabaji is my youngest player on your team, Mr. Yogesh Mittal. Still,
I was just surprised
still,
that you did not mention this so far.
no. How would I ever forget my good friend Gabaji? How will I ever forget that he is the man who is the youngest person on your team? I just hope he's playing the game, and I hope he doesn't need a runner and all those things.
No, he won't. He is fit and fine, and playing
Okay.
for leading the team with utmost.
Yeah, because I don't think Samish would be too interested in giving this youngest man a runner, when he's so fit like a fiddle, right?
Are we talking about Yogesh here?
Yes, we are talking about Yogesh. Yogesh, in case you did not know, last time our friend Gabaji was on the show, he did mention that here's the secret which nobody in DCL knows. I asked him a question. Please tell us something about KRCC which nobody else knows. He said, prompt came the answer. The thing which nobody else knows is that Yogesh Mittal is the youngest player on our team. And I could see Parthiv's reaction. He was shell-shocked. I was like, for a moment, my mind went blank. Then I remembered, this great Yogesh Mittal, when he had played strikers, I was watching this game, and our friend Yogesh Mittal took off for a run, and the next thing I know, he has pulled a muscle, and he couldn't run, and he needed a runner, and Parthiv graciously provided him a runner.
But that injury can happen to anyone, right? I'm not sure what you again. You brought this topic for so many times. I've seen people who are on their 20s are also having that issue, right? I'm surprised.
No, I think
injury is part of the game.
Gabaji is being sarcastic. I don't know if you
I
got
do
that.
understand.
No. I'm just pulling. I'm pulling Yogesh's leg. I'm pulling Yogesh's leg because he claims he's so. He's
right. I made that statement for a reason, that the passion that he carries, is very tough to match. Is what I actually tried to convey at that point. And
Gaba is worried about his team's funding going away.
So
No,
tell
it's
me
not
the
about
truth.
the
Is that true, or is it a joke?
What was that? Sorry, Samish?
Is he really the youngest member of the team, or is that?
Absolutely.
if he's Samish, if he was the youngest
guy in my team too.
Samish, if he's the youngest person on his team, then you were born on Mars, my friend.
Probably.
Well, I guess most of us on this panel have gotten to that age where we would like young and old to be considered like how they score in golf. So yeah, the lower you. But anyways, guys, this has been great. It's been lovely having you here. Some spirited discussions and a whole bunch of exciting games to look forward to. So all of you, please do stay tuned. I think, like I predicted, I think we've had some very high viewership even on the live show today. So that's great. And so all of you, take care. Please protect yourself from the inclement weather and from the challenge that we have with COVID. And stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you all hopefully this weekend at Novi Power Park. Take care and have a good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good luck, guys.